Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? It is I, the heelist of Bows, and your fellow loser. And we are here to discuss SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver 36. What an eventful weekend that was professional wrestling. It was crazy. It was insane. It was up, down, left, and right. It was insane. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I am tired as heck. Of course, I'm here with my fellow losers. Well, one actually, because the Double R Rights to Ryan is out. He's working, but he misses you guys. He loves you guys. And he's going to be back whenever he can. But I'm also here with my fellow loser, the optimistic Empire himself, Christian Miracle. What's up?
That would be Emperor, not Empire. My empire is my fan base. I took over and ruled the Empire. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's great to be on my podcast as usual. This is episode number 81. We're getting ever so close to 100.
Wow.
Willie, who else is here with us?
We are, of course, joined by our good friend, 2021 Optimistic Hall of Famer inductee, Leo the Phenom. What's up?
Howdy doody, my buddy.
What's up?
I'm good. I'm full. I just ate my lunch, and I'm ready for this podcast that'll last maybe 2 hours.
Ooh, what'd you eat?
I got nothing to do all day, so.
What did you eat, Leo?
Oh, I've had some Culvers. I got a double bacon deluxe burger with some extra fries and a strawberry lemonade frozen slush.
I've never been to Culver's.
Never heard of that last thing, but that does sound good. Folks, we're promoting food early on in the podcast. That's a first.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm actually eating right now as we're recording, so.
Nice. I had my great lunch.
Yeah. Well, this episode is brought to you by some food. Fast food.
Yeah. All right.
Wisconsin. Yes, I'm representing your restaurant because Culver's is a Wisconsin staple.
Yes, and true. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, thank you, Willie, for the fantastic intro. Welcome to the 81st episode of the Losers Lounge podcast. As Willie said, discussing NXT TakeOver 36 and SummerSlam. Both took place over the course of the weekend. Despite the fact SummerSlam came first, we're going to be talking about that last because, in our opinions, it had the more impactful moments. But that doesn't mean NXT did not have any impactful moments because a lot of crazy stuff happened on that day as well. That's what we're going to get started with. But before we get started, I want to give a quick reminder that next week, ladies and gentlemen, on the Losers Lounge podcast, next week, the losers finally return to discussing and predicting the events on AEW All Out. We decided, of course, we're going back to discussing AEW events, predictions, and reviews in a way where we will not be using any copyrighted images, just text font on the screen of each match we're going to be discussing, because unfortunately AEW still has the problem with the over-abuse in the copyright system. So hopefully we'll have a way to deal with this. But in the meantime, that's next week. This week, we have a hell of a weekend to talk about. Both NXT TakeOver and SummerSlam were great events. I love them both. So let's get started, shall we, folks?
Good.
We shall indeed. NXT TakeOver 36 took place at the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando. Yeah. And yes, despite the fact that WWE is on tour, NXT is not on tour. And to me, that's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with the CWC. The crowds could be a little better, but I don't have a problem with them just hanging out there for now until they get back on the road themselves.
Not for real. Like, the problem is, like you said, Chris, is not the place they're at. It's the people. The fans are just what brings it down, because they're all hardcore marks. Although all we are at the end of the day are hardcore marks, but, whatever. I mean, they just really get on my nerves.
Not only that, it's mostly the same people coming to the show all the time. And when people see the same people all the time, like, you kind of get sick of it. I get that mentality, but they do ruin the atmosphere, especially for some wrestlers. Like, not only for our former NXT champion Karrion Kross, but also teams like other people like MSK and
O'Reilly.
Like that is just sad to me. These so-called fans are ruining the mystique or the presentation of good wrestlers that are meant to be like either the heroes or even an anti-hero, maybe even the villain, and they just dump all over it.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate the reality we live in these days. However, I will say that we over here in the Losers Lounge respect all opinions and all points of view. As a matter of fact, that when we bring in all points of view, that actually expands us, makes us much more bigger and better, if you want to call it that.
Exactly. And I'm a person that I'm always open to others' opinions. I'll respect your opinions as long as you respect mine. And if you don't agree with it, that's fine. As long as you understand where I'm coming from, we're all good.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
That's a really good saying right there, folks. So, the first match that took place on NXT TakeOver was the $1 Million Championship match, which I remember, like several months ago, we probably would never thought we would ever talk about the $1 Million title on an NXT show. Yeah. And yet, here we are. I guarantee now, in a matter of time, we're going to be talking about the Divas Championship again.
Oh, God.
I'm kidding, folks. Or am I?
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. Well, maybe I'm not.
Imagine
I love fucking with y'all.
You are kidding, because that's not the title they're going to bring back. They're going to bring back the Light Heavyweight Championship.
Fair point on that. All right. LA Knight was the champion, defended against Cameron Grimes. The ruling stated if Cameron Grimes loses, Ted DiBiase will become LA Knight's butler, since Cameron seems to have way too much fun being LA Knight's butler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, that was so good and everything. Tried
Some of the funniest skits NXT's produced in a long time.
LA Knight thought that putting Cameron Grimes as his butler was going to make him feel miserable, but no, Cameron was having the time of his life, even way better than he ever did without being the butler.
Yep.
So, but however, folks, as a result, Cameron Grimes defeated LA Knight and is the new $1 Million champion, which is something a lot of people thought was going to happen at TakeOver in your house.
It's true. I was one of them.
Yep. But now, Cameron Grimes is the title, and I would just say it was awesome to see Ted DiBiase lock in that $1 Million dream.
It was cool.
Really gave us nostalgic flashbacks to the old days, huh? Because let's be honest, Ted DiBiase was one of the best bad guys in all of wrestling.
Oh, definitely.
He really gave us reasons to hate him. Remember the whole thing whenever he brought kids into the ring?
Yep.
Dribble this basketball 100 times, I'll give you like, $100 or something? Or $1,000, something like that? And he was counting along, but the moment he got to 99, he kicked the ball. Oh, you missed.
True.
Yeah, that pissed a lot of people off.
Yep.
And like, this really showed how much he was a really hated person back in the day.
Hell yeah, dog.
And to this day, to this very day, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Yep.
Cameron Grimes is the
even
new
if
$1
that
Million.
man is now,
Yep.
yeah, everyone's got a price, even if that man is a preacher.
Yeah. Cameron Grimes is $1 Million champion, and he's taking the title to the moon.
Yep.
It was a pretty good match to kick off the show. Like, here's the thing. Throughout the entire time of NXT TakeOver, I was watching with my brother Long Night Josh. We were actually on our PlayStation playing video games while we had the show on in the background, doing multitasking.
Yeah.
Because we were having a good time spending time with each other. And folks, just to let y'all know, he's doing great. He's currently started his first week as a sophomore in college. So, well done, Josh.
Nice. Proud of you, Josh.
Yep. Everybody on the channel misses him. He has not been seen since last year's Optimistic Awards show, but that wasn't an accident. The dude's got a lot of priorities now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I actually get started with Leo here. What was your thoughts on the $1 Million title match?
You know, probably the only time I'll compliment the CWC as they actually did their job and actually wanting Cameron Grimes to win and supporting him all the way through, and LA Knight getting the right heat. And these two as always, gave good back and forth. I think this is probably, at least in my honest opinion, their weakest match, but it was still entertaining for what it was. And it's great to see Cameron Grimes finally get that big win that's been so longly deserved, because the poor guy has not really gotten a break ever since not even before the whole money groping millionaire who I just won in the stock market kind of character came along. As like, even before that, when he was stuck just always facing Dexter Lumis, the guy couldn't catch a break.
Exactly.
For sure.
Now he's finally got that break, and he's the $1 million champion, and I'm glad for him. I'm happy for him, and I hope for bigger, better things. Unless what we on NXT is any give or take Ted DiBiase's stolen back the $1 million championship, because, well, everybody's got a price.
Yeah, that's really good. All right, sorry, something got caught in my throat for a second. Heel Balor. What was your thoughts on the $1 million title match?
Really fun match. Really fun way to open the show. Cameron Grimes is amazing. He's coming to his own. Same thing with LA Knight. Really just back and forth. Lots of action, lots of kickouts and near falls and that kind of stuff. Ted DiBiase obviously getting involved was pretty fun. And of course, my boy Cameron Grimes coming out on top was the right choice, the right winner. And the CWC, like Leo said, really cooperated in this match. And I really enjoyed it for what it was.
That's for me, of course. Like I mentioned, the favorite part about the whole thing was, here's the thing, Ted DiBiase was never a guy about winning things fair and square, so it made sense that Cameron did not win fair and square, huh?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a price, and that was LA Knight's price.
Yep.
It was a good way to open the show. Really good 15.5-minute match of great back and forth action. Several times I believed LA Knight would win. Other times I thought Cameron was going to win. And then vice versa. It just kept going back and forth.
Yep.
It's always best if you keep the fans guessing throughout the actual match.
Yeah. Well, I mean, out of all the matches on this night, this was probably the easiest to predict, because considering the stipulation of if LA Knight won, Ted DiBiase would be his butler. Like, come on. Like, we're going to believe a 70-year-old man is going to be the butler for a 35-year-old man.
Well, that actually is a thing in real life. You know, there's a lot of people who have butlers who are that age.
I do know that. It's just the character-wise of who is getting involved is what makes it non-believable. Even if it involves a man who's now a pastor and the man formerly known as Eli Drake.
Yeah.
Not to mention the other guy formerly known as Trevor Lee.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, we're going to move on to the next match. The next match was for the NXT Women's Championship. Raquel Gonzalez, the champ, defending against Dakota Kai. It's a feud that was put in place because of Dakota's jealousy and anger that she brought Raquel Gonzalez in as her bodyguard initially, and yet Raquel was the one who got the title first.
Yep.
All because Io Shirai is the one who actually requested she face Raquel Gonzalez.
Oh, yes, Io Shirai, who has not been seen in months. But whatever, that's another story for another day.
Yep, despite the fact that she is, part of the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions?
Yeah, with Zoe Stark.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell's going on with this? This is looking a lot more irrelevant than the WWE Women's Tag Team titles.
At least the WWE Women's Tag Team titles appear on SmackDown or Raw, and at least Tamina and Nadia have matches, even if it is against Shotzi and Tegan Knox over and over again.
Well, the good thing is, as we've recently seen, Natalya is medically cleared and back in action, so I'm happy for that.
Yep.
All right, but Raquel and Dakota, the inaugural NXT Women's Tag Team Champs, they held it only on for like 45 minutes, obviously.
Yes.
But this whole thing about Raquel and Dakota, obviously, well, just imagine if you're in Dakota Kai's shoes. You bring this person in like February 2020 to like be your bodyguard to help out, but then your bodyguard ends up picking more momentum over the women's champion.
Exactly.
She starts winning more, and then all of a sudden wins the big title.
Yep.
At TakeOver Stand and Deliver in the main event of night one.
On my birthday, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, here's the thing. On a big-time match in a big-time position, Raquel Gonzalez got the moment, not Dakota Kai. That is what pissed her off.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, you can't really blame Raquel because Dakota was the one that got most opportunities first, and she unfortunately failed.
Yeah, she failed every single time. And folks, at NXT 36, this was another example. Raquel Gonzalez defeated Dakota Kai to retain the women's title. And funny enough, Dakota Kai faced Io Shirai at TakeOver 30 last year before SummerSlam.
And failed. Yeah.
With Raquel by her side, failed. Without Raquel by her side, being her opponent, also failed. The big problem here is Dakota Kai is just... Maybe she's just not that good enough.
Possible.
Because it was... It was a good match. However, my personal opinion, a lot of people would disagree with this, and that's okay if you do, but I think Raquel is more talented than Dakota ever was.
I like them both. I'm not really going to draw comparisons, I guess. People are saying, oh, well, it's like Shawn Michaels and Diesel. I'm like, I don't see the comparison.
Yeah, I don't see the comparison to Shawn Michaels and Diesel, no, because they were both, they're both great competitors. And yes, I'm not saying Dakota Kai is not a good competitor, obviously, but I will say that anytime I watched them team up in matches, I was always more impressed with Raquel Gonzalez than I was with Dakota Kai. It's not because Raquel's a lot bigger. It's because she seemed to actually keep a good balance in her matches, and Dakota hasn't exactly done that for me.
Plus, Raquel's been getting unwanted hate for no reason. For no reason.
Obviously, her title reign right now cannot be compared to someone like Asuka or Shayna Baszler or even Io Shirai. No, but that doesn't mean her title reign's horrible. Not to mention,
she's been treated so badly by the fans for really no reason. I mean,
my God. I know why.
Yep, go ahead and tell me, Leo.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of the reason why people immediately turned on her is, let's just say it involves, I hate bringing this up, but politics. Her political views is what caused people to turn on her. All because she is, I'm not going to use any names, I'm just going to go left or right, describing, she leans more on the right side. Which, why would you care? Like, she's her own person. If she feels more comfortable leaning on the right side of a political government, then that's her choice.
Yeah, it's like, whatever.
It doesn't agree with yours. Like, that's fine. Like, you don't have to like it, but like don't crap on her about it. Hell,
Here's another. I actually have another big example for you of somebody who has like a certain negative political view and at the same time is not getting all the hate that Raquel Gonzalez is getting. That's Sasha Banks. She's an anti-vaxxer.
Apparently, like, we don't know that, but Sasha's been getting unwanted. I mean, in my opinion, Sasha's getting kind of unwanted. That's just me. I mean, like I said, if people want to get the whole thing, you can get the whole thing. I know we're probably pissing y'all off in the group chat right now. We're pissing y'all off in the comments right now. Ooh. You know what? You can skip this part of our podcast if you want to listen to it.
Don't worry. This podcast will obviously have like chapters. So if you want to skip to the next chapter to the UK title match, go ahead and click the button right now.
And click the button if y'all want to. But like the whole thing with Sasha Banks. Same with Karrion Kross. Like, leave politics on professional wrestling. I know exactly what I'm gonna be typing in the comments. Oh, but y'all are talking about it. Y'all are the ones bringing it up.
Yeah. I don't care what a person's views are. Even if it doesn't agree with mine, I don't care. They're their own person. The same way I'm my own person, and it doesn't matter. If I was not for the vaccine, but I only got the vaccine because they offered me. I were like, hey, if you get the vaccine, you won't need to wear a mask anymore. And like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. And now, like a month later after I get it, I'm like, oh no, we got a stronger variant of the virus coming out. You gotta wear the mask again. And why the hell did I get the vaccine then?
Well, here's the thing. Like, the whole thing about this is the fact that still over half the population is not vaccinated. Majority of them are too stupid. They're just like, they don't want to get vaccinated. As a result, the Delta variant is spreading rapidly. It's hurting a lot of people who are fully vaccinated too. Thankfully, not as bad. But the one thing I'm at least glad for is, as of right now, as of this post, as of this podcast, everything's moving forward even despite the rise in cases, because the rise of serious cases is still dropping.
Right now,
but we should really continue back to what we were talking about.
Of course.
Yeah, we don't want to get too political on our podcast here.
Yeah.
But back to the saying about Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai here. I remember last week I did say I'd like Raquel to win the match and have Dakota win it on later on. If Dakota won it right now, out of pure spite and jealousy, wouldn't look as impactful than if she does it later on as the feud continues on. Because, we're just started. Why stop Raquel's momentum all because this feud just started?
Exactly.
It looks like they're going with that, because I remember all of us, Willie, remember this last week? All of us were going down a different path. Yeah, looks like they're quite possibly going down my path. Woohoo!
Yay!
I said Raquel wins, and possibly Dakota wins at a future time, maybe either at Halloween Havoc or TakeOver prior to Survivor Series.
Possible.
Or if not that, if she doesn't succeed there either, then it looks like the future is unknown.
Yeah.
But,
we
however,
have a little bit of an idea of that future.
Oh, yeah, I think we do.
That.
After the match ended, Raquel retains the title, and then Kaylee Ray showed up. As it turns out, she's no longer in NXT UK. She actually moved to the States, and she is now part of NXT USA.
On the USA Network.
Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
The longest reigning NXT UK Women's Champ at 649 days.
Woo! My God.
649 days. Just a little less than 40 days shy of Time Pete Dunne's UK title reign.
Dang.
Yeah, Kaylee Ray is now in NXT USA. She had to start out with Raquel Gonzalez. Here's the thing. If Dakota Kai does not succeed in becoming the new NXT Women's Champion, we could potentially see Kaylee Ray get the job done.
I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't mind that as well, because I think it'd be cool to see them feud off heading into, maybe the NXT TakeOver prior to a Royal Rumble, or even maybe Stand and Deliver.
I like that.
Because here's the thing, if you want these feuds to go on good, the feud right now with Raquel and Dakota, still red hot. Keep up the jealousy, keep up with the interesting things, put in a stipulation for their next match. Maybe last woman standing. How cool would that be?
That'd be dope.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities are there. And I have a good feeling, despite the fact that people are saying NXT as we know it is dead. I don't believe that.
Yeah, sure.
I have a good feeling that we are going to see a lot of great things happen for the future. And
I do too.
Perhaps Kaylee Ray could become NXT Women's Champ at WrestleMania weekend.
That'd be cool.
If you build up the feuds properly, you'll make it look even better when it happens.
I think it also has to do with patience of the wrestling fans, which, let's be honest, the wrestling fans, there's no patience whatsoever.
Not a single bit of patience.
Exactly.
What is patience?
What's up, man?
What is patience considering the IWC? They don't know what the heck patience is. They have to know what something is now or fuck up. But nope. Like me, I'm a person that lets things play out. Let's see where this is gonna go. But with the IWC, no, I want to know what's gonna happen right now. Right now. considering how it's kind of like how I've seen people react when it comes to shows like The Mandalorian or even shows like Loki or What If.
Yeah, they want all the episodes released at once, not week after week.
Oh, for real?
Like, who the fuck would do that? Go through all that just to post every single one of them so people can binge watch it in like a shy of like what 8-9 hours, maybe 10. I'm like, well done. All that filming for all those months for just 9 to 10 hours on a series, and that's not how series works. It never has been, never will be. Actually, I think they should be thankful they're at least releasing. When it came to the WandaVision, they released 2 episodes in the first week, just so people had 2 things to watch. But all the others, here's the thing: they're really long. They're supposed to be week after week. The same with like wrestling. You can't expect to have like the big moment happen right then and now, all because you want it to happen. You gotta let it play out. We're about to definitely go into rant modes on a lot of things that definitely need to play out later. Trust me, we will. But in the meantime, Leo, what is your thoughts on the NXT Women's Title Match?
This was a good, big person-to-person match. I go back and forth. Dakota having a lot more offense than I actually anticipated, but it worked out in the end, and we had a good NXT Women's Title Match. Not the greatest, but it was still good for what it was, and I expect great things in the future, especially for Raquel, considering her dominant reign as champion, and Dakota, if she stays in NXT or even goes up to SmackDown or wherever she goes, wherever both ladies go, they still got bright futures ahead.
They do.
Yep.
They do.
Yes,
they really do.
Indeed. All right, and Willie, what was your thoughts on the NXT Women's Title Match?
Like, it was a really fun match. I do think that these ladies are very underrated, and I think they brought a lot to the table in this match. Very back and forth. There were moments I just thought that Dakota was going to win the match, and going into it, I legit thought she was going to win. And but like, it was a really fun match. There were a few scary spots in the match, like a few little hits and misses, a few botches, but that comes with wrestling. But overall, really fun match. Loved the ending, which I loved the powerbomb that Raquel hit from the top rope. That was dope. And of course, Kayla Ray coming out, making her emergence at TakeOver was pretty cool as well. So yeah, overall, fun match. Really enjoyed it. And I had a feeling that Dakota was probably going to lose anyways because she was being featured in dark matches prior to this whole thing. So that kind of was like, okay, yeah, she's going to lose this match. Like I said, I didn't care who was going to win this match going into it, but, that was the thing that kind of threw me. I was like, yeah, Dakota's going to lose this match.
All right, we're going to move on to the next match.
I kind of...
Oh, okay, never mind. Go ahead, Leo.
I was kind of had a feeling of that too, considering beforehand, I actually attended SmackDown just a couple weeks ago right here in Tampa.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. How awesome was that?
It was great to be in front of a full capacity crowd again. Even though I was at WrestleMania, yes, it was fun, but it wasn't a full capacity crowd. But this was a full, about 6,000-7,000 attended arena show. It was fun to be there. It's so nice to find that atmosphere again. And
nice.
And even then, at that show, Dakota Kai was wrestling Aaliyah, and
as you know, folks, I will be being in a full capacity thing myself next week because I will be in Chicago for AEW Rampage and All Out, which we will be getting into next week. And by the way, folks, I'm just going to take this moment and say we're not talking about that big time return.
That guy.
We're not talking about that big time return until next week. You're going to have to wait till next week's podcast to hear about this. So
we'll have a lot to say about that guy next week.
Yeah. It's okay, though. We saved that for the best part. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the next match, which I think was match of the night. The United Kingdom Championship match.
boy.
With Walter and Ilya Dragunov. In a match that it was great back and forth action. By the way, folks, I finally got the chance to watch their match from NXT UK last year. You guys were right. It was so fucking good.
Yep.
And this one was just as. I liked it very much. It was so good. And folks, Walter is not champion any longer. Ilya Dragunov is the new NXT UK champion. Oh my god. When the match ended, it scared the living shit out of me. I'm not kidding. It actually did.
Mm-hmm.
He locked in his sleeper hold, lifted him off the ground, and literally hung him like a noose. He almost killed the man.
Mm-hmm.
That was an instant tap out because, well, if you're being hung by the neck, you're pretty much almost dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. Even if you're a 6'4", 300-pound Walter, even you gotta immediately tap from that, because even if I was in that situation, I would have been like, nope, get it. Nope, I don't need it.
Exactly.
Yep, here's the thing. Ilya Dragunov has forced Walter to tap out. He's the first person to do that in Walter's entire NXT career.
That's insane.
Walter's been champ 870 days. That's the record, folks.
Yep.
2.5 years. Yep. 2.5 years. Oh my god.
We have not seen a reign that long since the 80s with Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan's very first title reign. That just goes to show how insanely crazy this whole thing was.
Cool.
Despite the fact, of course, here's the thing. If Walter was to reach Hogan's big-time record, he would still have to go on for another 600 days.
Oh, for real?
But it's okay, though, because, honestly, like, Walter's reign, I'll be perfectly honest, it was cool, but the problem was he didn't defend as much. That was like his seventh or eighth. Yeah, big circumstance had to be the COVID-19 pandemic, but then again, let's not forget how very little Pete Dunne defended his title.
Exactly.
But then again, Pete Dunne also defended his UK title at random indie shows.
He did. I remember he defended it once against Will Ospreay. Great match, by the way. Y'all should watch it.
Yep. This just goes to show, like, there's a lot of great things to see.
Oh, for real.
Ilya Dragunov is the person everybody thought was going to beat Walter last year, and when he lost, everybody was shocked.
Yep.
I think it was awesome when Walter competed against the likes of Tommaso Ciampa and Rampage Brown over the course of WrestleMania week.
Those were fun matches.
On Willie's birthday and my birthday. It was so good. Both of them were great matches, and a lot of times I just wish we could relive those events now.
Oh, dude, for real, man.
Because I remember we were severely hyped for these series events. That's why our podcast went almost 7 hours.
Yep.
I honestly did not expect WrestleMania week this year to be that major.
Yeah.
2 nights of WrestleMania, 2 nights of NXT TakeOver, an NXT UK Prelude, and a Hall of Fame ceremony. Can't get any bigger than that.
Yep.
Every single day was fantastic. Honestly, it felt like a minor vacation.
Mm.
Kind of really did.
It was a minor vacation.
I took time off of making YouTube videos that entire week because I'm like, I'm not going to be in the mood to make YouTube videos right there.
Oh, for real.
But, anyway. Whew. I wonder, of course, whether or not Ilya Dragunov is going to have an extremely long year, maybe 2-year reign. Or do you think, I at least guarantee he's going to be in between Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne when he loses it.
I can see it.
I don't see him going past Pete Dunne or even Walter.
Nah.
Hell, I didn't expect Walter to pass Pete Dunne. I'll be perfectly honest. Like, when Pete Dunne lost the UK title to Walter 2.5 years ago. It's hard to believe I said that.
True.
When he lost the belt to Walter, I honestly thought 685 days. I don't think anyone's going to top that. Walter ends up being the one topping it.
Yep.
I'm going to say it now. I don't see anyone topping this. We'll come back to this in 2.5 years in 2024. In January 2024, folks, we'll see if Ilya Dragunov is still the champion.
Bro.
I'm going to predict no, he's not.
Exactly.
I think he'll be champ the rest of this year, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Maybe a good portion of next year, but I don't see him going any longer than a year, if I'll be perfectly fair. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. So, Willie, I'll start with you. I almost called you Walter. Wow.
well, I got the name. I got a W in the name, so.
Yeah.
Too small to be Walter.
I kept saying Walter a lot, so when I got to Willie, I was like, Willie. I almost called you Walter. Imagine that. So, Walter, what was your thoughts on the UK title match? And then all of a sudden we hear, I did not like it because I lost. I'm like, holy shit, the actual Walter is here.
Imagine.
Okay, all right, Willie. That's how
What's up, man?
Willie. What was your thoughts on the UK title match?
Oh my god. First of all, guys, I legit had to not tweet during that match. I tweeted out that I'm not going to tweet during this match. I wanted to soak it in. I was in the call with these guys. I was in the call with my boys. Of course, Leo was there. Shout out to my boys, Leo.
So you weren't,
and Beast and all these guys out there who were in there with me. We watched, we enjoyed it together, and oh my god, was it good. Brutal stuff. What's up, bro?
Honestly, I was like, so you didn't tweet during that match, but you'll tweet over any of your favorites like Kyle O'Reilly or Finn Balor.
Yes.
Like when Kyle and Finn had their match at TakeOver 31 last year, you were tweeting all over it.
Well, yeah, I did do that, yeah.
I remember when I'll be honest, I remember when that happened. I was like, Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, oh shit, those are two of heel Balor's all-time favorites in NXT. He's probably fucking torn right now.
Which I was.
You were. But anyway,
that's right.
Continue.
But overall, man, oh my gosh, their first match was good. Do not get me wrong. But in my opinion, this topped it. Topped it. Professional wrestling to the finest. And it was saying, NXT's dead. NXT is so mid. Well, if NXT's mid, they just put on a freaking classic right here with these two guys. And it's under WWE. And for people saying that WWE doesn't know about wrestling, look at NXT. Look at what Walter and Ilya Dragunov did during this match. That is professional wrestling right there. So don't tell me there's no thing as pro wrestling in WWE. Of course, when it comes to the main roster, there's storytelling, which people need to realize that. This match, in my opinion, stole the night. It stole the weekend, in my opinion. That's just my opinion right there. And a really fun match. My words cannot do it justice. It really can't. You guys will have to go out and watch the match. It was good. It was brutal. It was violent. There were times there were many times we were cringing during this match. You could ask Leo in here. We were cringing during this match. And I really enjoyed it. Like I said, match of the week. Very good moments. And overall, in my opinion, like I said last week, guys, you can go back and listen to our predictions of this whole show. I think everybody else said, this was going to steal the entire weekend. And in my opinion, it did. It was match of the night, in my opinion. Match of the freaking night. And overall, congratulations to Ilya Dragunov. And a really, really fun run from Walter. Granted, I'm still a teeny bit pissed we didn't get Finn Balor and Walter, but maybe next time. But overall, really fun match. Congratulations to Ilya Dragunov. And really, really, really fun match. Highly recommend you guys go watch it.
Yep. It's just really goes to show that, honestly, the whole thing about the Ilya Dragunov and Walter, it just goes to show that they have a lot of passion for what they do. You know what I mean?
Dude, for real.
Yep. Leo, what was your thoughts on the UK title match?
This was basically what I expected it to be, considering the match from last year. It was fantastic. Absolutely. I can't even say hard, because even hard is putting it lightly, because these two just went blow for blow, no F's given. just beating the meat off each other's bones, and just look at Ilya's neck and chest to know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this was Will was cringing a lot in the call, but me, I was dead focused. I was dead focused on this match. I paid attention. I didn't talk. I didn't like even go ooh or ah. I just stood there and kept my eyes open, like I was like that one scene in A Clockwork Orange. I just kept my eyes open, watching the whole time. This was some brutal stuff, and I enjoyed every second of it. I would love to see one more match, but we'll see what happens. So, Ilya Dragunov, Walter, you get all the applause from me.
Yes, indeed. What I will also say is, like, really makes you wonder what the future of Walter will be in NXT UK. Because I know he ain't going to NXT USA because he refuses to live there. He's okay with traveling there to do shows, but if you want to be part of that full roster, you got to move.
Yep.
Same thing goes if he would go to another company. He would have to unfortunately have to leave Europe, and he doesn't want to leave Europe. I don't blame him for that.
Exactly.
If anything, for Walter, I think perhaps him becoming a special attraction for NXT UK would be a good thing. Be kind of like a Brock Lesnar, come in every so often, compete for the title or against a big time wrestler that's coming up, and kind of put them to the test. I think that would be a great thing for him.
Yes, indeed. All right, folks. The next match we're talking about is another epic fight that we thought was honestly going to be the main event. The 3 Stages of Hell match with Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Yep. I would say when that was announced to be next, I was actually shocked.
Same.
I mean, I thought that was going to be the main event, but looks like they had bigger plans for the main event. But it's okay, though. I gotta tell you, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, after everything they went through, like the unsanctioned fight at TakeOver Stand and Deliver, the epic one-on-one match at Great American Bash, and now the 3 Stages of Hell match where 2 of the falls sucked ass.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, for one thing, the traditional wrestling match, it was quick and almost over with. I was like, wait, what? I was like, he countered the Panama Sunrise into a roll-up. It was quick. I was like, wait, whoa. I was like, whoa, what the hell? The second of all, the street fight. The street fight lasted the longest. It lasted about 15, maybe almost 20 minutes. Yep. And I was like, okay, never mind. Slow, bad start with the first fall. But you know what? The street fight is picking up. And there we go. And the very interesting thing about this is TakeOver Stand and Deliver, Kyle O'Reilly won the unsanctioned street fight. And on the wrestling match, Adam Cole won it. In this case, it was roles reversed. Kyle O'Reilly won the wrestling match. Adam Cole won the street fight. The steel cage match was only 2 or 3 minutes?
It was actually about, I actually went back in time, but it was actually about somewhere between 6 and 7 minutes.
Regardless, I'm like, wait, what? That's my literal response to all that. I was like, what the hell? I was actually like, what the hell? What the hell happened? This is from what we hear, this was Adam Cole's last match in NXT. And it sucked. Yep. It kind of sucked, honestly. Here's the thing, one good fall out of a 3 Stages of Hell does not make a good match. That's 1 out of 3. The wrestling match was too quick to really judge anything. The second fall was violent, pretty good. And the cage match was a complete letdown. Not to mention the way it ended. Adam Cole hits a super kick and gets caught into a heel hook. Despite the fact that there's a literal kendo stick for Adam to use to whack Kyle with, he just taps out.
That's what Leo was saying. The kendo stick was right there, Cole.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell happened? I don't understand this.
I think what happened was that it was cut short because of Walter and Dragunov. Because that match went long. Because even the main event was short. The main event of the show was short. I think Walter and Dragunov took a lot of time.
Walter and Ilya Dragunov went on for 20 minutes, I believe.
20?
Yeah, just 20 minutes.
How long was this match, though?
25.
20? Huh? Okay, then.
That's because the street fight really carried it. The first fall was like 5 minutes, probably at the max. The second fall was like 15 minutes. 15 or maybe 18 minutes, I don't know. And then the main event, the last fall
like
was
6 minutes at most.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, the street fight was over half the match. And it was great. The action, the violence of the street fight was good. But the problem, of course, was like the first fall, the final fall. It's like as if, you're protecting the middle, yeah. It's just like how you got to the middle wasn't that good, and how you got out of the middle to the next stage. The stages are supposed to be a lot more difficult with every passing thing. This one, Kyle O'Reilly's 2 wins looked way too easy. In comparison to what happened at TakeOver Stand and Deliver, where he was, destroyed by Adam Cole a lot before he finally got it. And I will say I am severely disappointed in this 3 Stages of Hell match. Because only one of them was good. The other 2 were bad. Because they were too quick for us to really get into the action. They were over before they really started. And that was a huge kick in the balls to me. And that's my thoughts on that. Willie, go ahead. You're next.
Well, these are my boys, obviously, so I'm going to give them a little bit of time. I want to thank NXT for treating this rivalry with respect. And I know people are like, oh, but they dragged it out way too long. That's the thing. You got to drag these out a little bit. You can't have it all in one slice. And they did very well, in my opinion, with this rivalry. It was personal. It was brutal. Was this one of their best matches? Nah, I still get the Stand and Deliver match over their few other matches, the 3 matches that they've had, over the 2 other matches that they've had. This match was good. Do not get me wrong. These matches were brutal. Their storytelling. That's what I love about Kyle and Adam. They both tell stories in there. There's a history behind both of them. And in my opinion, they really brought it to the table in this match. I expected a little more brutality, but it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. Just the I'm going to say anticlimax. Just the way that Cole just tapped out immediately to the heel hook. I'm like, that's it. That's it. I'm not trying to complain, guys. Hear me out. But I was just like, I'm like Christian. I was like, that's it. You had the kendo stick right there. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just so bizarre. I'm like, okay, I guess we're gonna end it quick. And it was really good. We don't know where Kyle O'Reilly goes from here. Adam Cole, who knows where he goes at this point. I personally think he's gonna re-sign with WWE. Who freaking knows? But overall, good match, good rivalry. The right person won, Kyle O'Reilly, which you all knew going in he was gonna win. And I really enjoyed it. Once again, thank you, NXT, for treating this rivalry with respect. And that's all I got.
Yeah, I'm like...
Oh, yeah, bro.
Yeah, the rivalry was treated with respect. The problem is, the big-time main clash, the final battle thing. It's like, building up a movie, and it's all exciting, it's great, but then the final battle is too quick and easy. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It was like, well, that was anticlimactic. Normally when something's anticlimactic, it's usually because something else is coming in the future with this feud. But this was, as they called it, the final battle.
Yep.
I've heard reports. I heard fans tell me well, maybe somebody got legitimately injured. I'm like, as of right now, I've not heard of a legitimate injury from anywhere.
Nah, I haven't heard anything about an injury either from
so
these
I don't think that's the case at all. But
it's funny you say final battle, Chris, because their last battle before they came to it was actually at Ring of Honor's final battle. And that match, highly recommend you go watch it, in 2016. That match was more brutal than this match. That involved thumbtacks, tables, steel chairs, freaking blood, pretty much everything you can think of. That match right there, once again, highly recommend you go watch it if you've never seen it.
What about the kitchen sink?
dramatic than this match, in my opinion.
What about the kitchen sink? Did they use that?
No, there was no kitchen sink thrown. I don't think I've ever seen that being thrown in any of the matches, but...
To this day, I really want to see someone actually use a kitchen sink because of people always using that saying, using everything except the kitchen sink.
I don't think I've ever seen a wrestler use a kitchen sink in a match.
That'd be funny.
It'd be way too dangerous.
It'd be hilarious. That depends on what type of kitchen sink it is. If it's made out of plastic material, then use it.
Yeah. Also, screw you. I'm gonna say this too. Screw you, CWC, for booing Kyle O'Reilly. I get everyone loves Adam Cole. I understand that, but just booing Kyle O'Reilly after he won. Yeah, there's videos of the aftermath. They're booing Kyle O'Reilly, saying he sucks and he's a mid-card and all that. Just keep your opinions to yourselves, okay? Be nice and be respectful, please.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're allowed to say that if they want to.
I know that, but just, oh my God, just saying horrible, nasty things to these wrestlers, man.
Yep. All right, Leo, your thoughts on the 3 stages of Hell match?
I'll be honest, I think this probably at least the street fight portion was the best part. I think the first fall was meant to be short just to kind of come out of nowhere as a surprise, which I don't mind. The street fight lasted the longest, which I kind of expected, considering that's kind of how it usually goes when it comes to these 3 stages of Hell matches. Look at a Stone Cold and Triple H at No Way Out 01. The street fight was the longest part. What else? I think it was John Cena and Ryback.
Yes.
So the longest match was what I think was their lumberjack match, which was the first match, and then we get to their tables and ambulance portion of the match, and they only lasted a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I wasn't disappointed how short those portions of the matches were. Like in this case, the normal singles match and the steel cage match were short. As much as I was I was more disappointed and just kind of how it ended with Kyle O'Reilly being handcuffed to the cage. Adam Cole go for a super kick and he gets caught in a heel hook and then just taps like that. Like you guys, you were like, that's it. That was my reaction. Like I expected more.
Yeah, a big example of like a good one is Adam Cole had a great 3 stages of Hell match in 2019 in Toronto against Johnny Gargano. Yeah. And each one of those falls actually had a good balance at time.
Yeah. Exactly. And not only that, I would have understood Adam Cole like tapping out so quickly if before Adam Cole's like leg or his knee was heavily damaged ahead of time. Let's say like how Kyle was getting his ribs destroyed throughout the street fight portion. Like what if Adam was getting his leg worked the whole time, and then at the end of the cage match he got caught in the heel hook and immediately tapped? I would have understood. I would have been okay with it, but he didn't. It was the first time he was getting locked into the heel hook at that moment, and he just taps. And like even I would have done something to try and get away immediately. No. Oh well. If the candlestick was right there. Yeah. If this is Adam Cole's final match in NXT, like I wish he could have gone out better, but for what it was, it okay. At least it's going out. He was facing one of his closest friends in Kyle O'Reilly. Wherever he goes, whether he stays in WWE and goes to like SmackDown or Raw, or even if he leaves to go to Ring of Honor or AEW or New Japan, wherever he decides to go, like it's your career. I hope nothing but the best for you.
He's gonna be good. He's gonna be a big
Cole's
star.
Gonna be amazing wherever he goes.
He's gonna be a big star, yeah, wherever he goes. That's for sure. All right, folks, we are now going to move on to the main event of NXT TakeOver 36. That was the NXT Championship match with Karrion Kross against the returning Samoa Joe. First time Samoa Joe has wrestled a match since February 2020, and the first time he's competed in NXT since December 2016.
Dang.
2016. It's almost 5 years ago.
Wow.
And as a result, Samoa Joe wins the match and is the new NXT champion and the first ever 3-time NXT champion. There's only very few people have won it twice, along Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, and Karrion Kross have all been 2-time NXT champions. Samoa Joe is the only 3-time. Holy shit, that's amazing. And what made it even more better is he brought back the Muscle Buster.
He did.
When I saw he was about to go for it, I'm like, oh, I think Karrion's just going to counter this, but he didn't. And when Joe hit it, I was like, oh, shit, that's over. That's it. It's over.
Yep.
And yes, this match was only 13 minutes, folks. 13 minutes. However, as we have said before, these NXT TakeOver shows, their timelines are usually 2.5 hours anyway. And they already had 2 matches that combined went over almost an hour. Which included entrances. So, the thing, of course, is they had to cut the main event short. I think, honestly, for what it was actually good. Because, there ain't much they could do together in that case. And, I honestly think, I kind of figured, Joe was going to win it because Karrion Kross is on the main roster. He's been wrestling on Raw every week, so now he's there full time. Whew.
Joy.
Samoa Joe escaped the cross jacket.
Yep.
I must say, it was really good. And I was also amazed that the match did not end with a coquina clutch. It ended with a muscle buster. I expected Cross to probably pass out or tap out to the coquina clutch. So to see him get defeated by the muscle buster was shocking and out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, that's good.
I think because you had the tap out with Ilya Dragunov and Walter, I think he just didn't want to go that route again.
Yeah. And not to mention, Kyle O'Reilly won his last one by submission as well, so that was 2
that'd be
submissions.
3 tap outs.
Yeah, with all these tap outs, you might as well bring back Breaking Point, am I right?
Dude, for real.
Honestly, I didn't mind that pay-per-view. I like the idea of a submission-styled event.
I liked it. Kinda.
Just got to put the right people in the submission match.
For real.
And, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. Karrion Kross is now on the main roster. And I will say, I don't mind his new outfit. I mean, the mask is a little...
Thank you, Christian!
I will say the mask is a little Jason Voorhees, so I made a funny joke saying Karrion Voorhees. However, I like the certain outfit he got. It kind of reminded me of Demolition or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, it gave me Demolition or Viking-style things.
Yeah.
Not to mention,
I got vibes of the mask dude from Mad Max Road Warriors from him.
Oh, good. Now now Karrion Kross is in Mad Max. That's what. Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
That'd be hilarious.
Hey, if they make another Mad Max movie with Tom Hardy, get Karrion Kross to play the big bad guy.
I will say, here's the thing: seeing Samoa Joe as the NXT champion really takes us back to like 2016, huh? He ended Finn Balor's long title reign of 292 days. He's the one who ended that.
At a house show. A freaking house show. That still hurts.
Yeah. At the time, it was the longest reigning title reign until Adam Cole broke it at 403 days. At least when Adam Cole lost it, he lost it to North American champ Keith Lee.
Yeah, baby.
And, here's the thing. With Samoa Joe as champion, as we saw in NXT this past Tuesday, there's a lot of possibilities now. Pete Dunne is one.
There is.
Samoa Joe can have great matches with all these guys. Tommaso Ciampa, potentially Johnny Gargano.
Ew.
Or even Kyle O'Reilly.
Yes.
Here's the thing, at some point, I will say this. If you're going to put the title on Kyle O'Reilly, put it on him at TakeOver Stand and Deliver on WrestleMania week.
Exactly.
Have Joe hang on to it until then. Because I think that would be good. Right now, Samoa Joe, like, if like we've heard reports about how they want star power in NXT. Well, there's Samoa Joe. That's a star. He can, not to mention, Joe is a fantastic person to help coach and produce with others.
Exactly.
So those people down in NXT, they got a really good champion to look up to.
They do.
Not to mention, it's a champion you don't want to mess with.
Oh, for real. Like the last champion didn't want to mess with.
Yep. Although Jeff Hardy's got Karrion Kross's number.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Karrion Kross, of course, is the one who ended Finn Balor's second title reign. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Finn Balor had 2 great title reigns.
Yes, he did.
I enjoyed them both. I still remember how Finn Balor won it while I was hanging out with Niagara Falls on a getaway. That's how I remember it, because I was hanging out in a hotel watching the show.
I was so proud of him. Had such a fun run. Kross had a fun. I don't care what anybody says. Kross had a fun run as champ. I don't care what anybody says.
Hell yeah, he did. Hell, I love that Fatal 5-Way match that took place at In Your House.
It was so good.
And
I'm not giving Kross that much credit as the NXT champ. Like people are like, oh well, but he didn't defend it that much. Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
He put in the work, and he earned a spot. Exactly, Leo.
That's more times he defended it than the reigns of Sami Zayn, Johnny Gargano, and Keith Lee combined.
Well, to be fair,
Exactly.
Johnny Gargano lost his NXT title on the first defense.
So did
Never
Sami
forget
Zayn. And Keith Lee lost it in his second defense.
Yep.
Which is really crazy.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was shocked on that, how Keith Lee lost his title so quickly and then moved up to the main roster so quickly.
Yep. Like
I guess they
Kross,
really
in my opinion, did really well as the NXT champion. And was it the best? Is it like up there with the greatest of all times? No. That's what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that he put in the work. He respected the title. And no matter what people threw at him, regardless of who you are, the guy still did his job well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I give him credit.
Yeah, my favorite NXT champion was Adam Cole, because look at all the damn defenses he did as in that 400-plus day reign.
Cole's obviously my second. Y'all obviously know who my first one is.
Yeah, Finn Balor, easily.
No, Johnny Gargano. No, I'm kidding.
I will admit, Tommaso Ciampa and Andrade were great champs as well.
My favorite champion is probably Tommaso Ciampa, because sure, he didn't hold it for a significantly long time, but you know what? When he had that championship, he treated it like the most important thing in the world, and he whatever it took. The same with Adam Cole, but the thing is that like a lot of his matches did feel the same.
That's the kind of thing with Cole that people kind of get annoyed at. It's like, oh, it's the same match all the time. That's how T. Lee. Obviously, that's thousands of people out there. Like, oh, but he it's the same matches with Cole every single week. Well, that's what you're gonna get with certain wrestlers. Like that's how they do. That's the moveset. That's the storytelling out there. Like it's not gonna be that one champion who does like different things every match.
Yeah. On the subject of Karrion Kross, I will also say that the whole thing going on with him on Monday Night Raw, like whether it was the outfit, it's not just the outfit that's interesting, a change of him, but also the fact that he literally brutally annihilated Ricochet in seconds.
Exactly. Isn't that what people wanted?
It seems to me that Karrion Kross, now being on Monday Night Raw on a full-time basis, is now ready. Ready to take on all comers.
I think people need to be patient, like Leo said, and just like we all pretty much been saying here with wrestlers. Like they want, it's so funny. Like, oh, we want him on the main roster. Now that he's on the main roster, y'all don't want him anymore.
It's mostly because, for one thing, he's not coming out with Scarlett anymore, which
I know.
Not to mention
and
his new entrance, like he doesn't have the black and white anymore, and now he's got this outfit. But I think the big thing they're just pissed about was, he lost to Jeff Hardy in a couple minutes in his first match on Raw.
I wasn't even pissed when he lost to Jeff Hardy. I was more shocked. I was like, what? I wasn't even pissed. I was like, I love Jeff Hardy.
It was a question. I quoted it as it's a questionable decision, but not one worth crying over. We're not reaching Goldberg over the Fiend type things.
No, we're not. Not even.
And Karrion Kross, I got good feelings on this. As a matter of fact, if the reports are true regarding Damian Priest, the whole thing with Bobby Lashley, for one thing, I guarantee they're going to have a good match. I could see after all that said and done, what if Karrion Kross goes after Damian Priest in the U.S. title?
That'd be something I'd like. I'd be invested in. Like, I'm enjoying Priest. Like, the guy's great. We'll talk about him a little bit later when we get to SummerSlam. But, the stuff with Karrion Kross and, people, like I said, need to be patient. Like, oh, where's Scarlett? We want Scarlett. Yes, Scarlett did and is a part of his act, but she's not all of it. There's more. It's the wrestle in the ring. Scarlett, is not wrestling. She hasn't wrestled yet in WWE. She probably won't because she's the valet for Cross. So give it a chance.
She also isn't she also his real life wife as well?
Nah, they're boyfriend girlfriend. I don't know if they're engaged or not.
Oh,
they're
not married. Okay,
I think they are engaged.
They are? Okay.
But they are a legitimate couple.
Exactly. And she's a part of his act. Exactly. Like, do I miss the smoke? Do I miss the black and white? Yes, I do. And I think they shouldn't have taken that away from him, but it's still the same Karrion Kross. Yes. And yeah. I don't know if y'all saw a report about this, but there's reports, about the thing with Karrion Kross, with the whole gear these guys to sell toys. WWE is a company, by the way. And it's a marketable thing. People need to understand that. You might not like the stuff they're doing, but it's marketable stuff.
Yeah, you can't exactly sell toys on a random bald dude.
Exactly. But look at Bobby Lashley. Well, actually, you can still.
He's not exactly. Bobby Lashley ain't exactly a random bald dude.
Exactly. He's the almighty WWE champion.
Yeah, now he is.
This is the company that drove a car out for Braun Strowman, and he just destroyed it with his bare hands, all to sell a toy.
Yeah.
Look what happened with the whole thing with Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre. The bike thing. Literally the next day, they were selling toys on it. It's about marketing. That's what this company's all about, is marketing. I think people need to slow down before they start assuming the worst for a wrestler. Like, oh, but they're going to ruin the so-and-so's career. Wait and see. They treated Damian Priest well.
Got lost in the shuffle a little bit after WrestleMania, but they were kind of saving him up for SummerSlam.
Here's the thing.
They did well.
I will say that my personal opinion, there's nothing wrong with selling promotional material like toys and shit like that, and especially if people are on board with somewhere else selling ice cream. I'm just saying, can't exactly say this should not happen if you approve of this happening over here.
Exactly. If you're going to sell ice cream bars and do that, then why is it not okay to sell toys? Like, both things cater to kids. People don't realize that. Both things cater to kids. And that's what both things are being told.
Yeah,
like,
kids
it's about
want ice cream more than, I'll be honest, kids want ice cream more than the adults do.
For real, that's what it is. Like, ice cream is a thing for kids. What you got, Leo?
No, that wasn't Leo that said anything.
What you got, Chris? Oh, so okay.
It's all good.
But like people, they're assuming like the worst for Karrion Kross. Like, oh, look at the getup, look what he's wearing, look at all this and that. It's to market and to sell toys. Like, this company is, of course, their main target is kids. That's their main target, and they're trying to sell toys for the kids. Heck, maybe I'd buy that thing. I don't freaking know, but I mean, it's about to sell them. It's to sell merchandise, and that's what it's about. It's a business. And like Christian said with the ice cream bars, if you can sell ice cream bars and give them out to fans after a show, then you can obviously do something like this.
Yeah,
it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I know a lot of defenses will be because of who prescribed the ice cream bars. I'm like, well, at the same time, that person is still like a wrestler who's like, being marketed for these things. Hell, his name's practically on the bar, so he's being marketed. And that's okay to be marketed.
That's ice cream bars all those years ago, sitting up on a stage somewhere. Yeah, he sent some ice cream bars, and he's the one who brought it true.
Yeah, $1 billion company marketing for merchandise, including here's the thing: merchandise that goes beyond T-shirts and title belts, action figures, toys. That stuff's good. That stuff's great. Hell, honestly, it's been one of their top selling things. Like T-shirts, they sell great, but toys, especially for the kids who want to just hang out in their bedroom with their friends and play with this makeshift toy wrestling ring and their action figures. What's wrong with that, huh? Especially if there's a kid right now or in the future who's playing with this action figure of the new Karrion Kross. Like, who are we to deny them that?
Exactly.
Not only that, if you're one of the people complaining about Karen Cross's outfit or what he comes out looking as, like, you are watching the sport you're watching. Professional wrestling is basically you're watching a bunch of 30-year-old some men wrestling in boots and underwear, right?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that.
If you're a person that grew up in the Attitude Era, you watched a 400-pound man that was basically wearing a thong the whole time.
Exactly.
So
even a man who wore nothing but a fanny pack.
Exactly. What we're saying here, guys, is that it's about mark, and that's fine. If you don't agree with us, totally fine. That's totally fine. You can agree with us. That's fine. But hear us out, and we're saying, why WWE is doing this, and try not to jump to conclusions as to why. Oh, they're doing this. They're so and so's doing this. This is a horrible company, and yet you turn around and be like, ice cream bars. That's awesome. That's totally fine.
Yeah,
don't be that kind of person.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like another thing that should be also put in place. Hell, let's go back to 2016 real quick before we move on. Back in 2016, wasn't New Day selling fucking breakfast cereals, Bootios?
Yes, Bootios.
And I'll be honest, that's still one of the best things they've ever done.
Got the pancakes and all that, the Bootios and all that. That's marketing.
Yeah, marketing. The New Day was honestly one of the top marketing things in the entire WWE. That's why they've been alive for so long. But hell, I can't believe they went from the whole New Day sucks to this, to suddenly never mind, fans are on the side. Then they brought up Bootios, unicorn horns on their head, and then pancakes. It's like simplest things. They actually made it look good. Here's the thing. Maybe Karrion Kross's new look will look good. Maybe it won't. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. Because here's the thing. You can't determine things based off a first viewing.
Correct.
Yeah. Fun fact. Bootios were so popular for the New Day. Hell, even they're still selling Bootios at my local FYE.
Oh, wow.
Are people actually still? People are actually still buying.
I'm not gonna buy it because a box is $30 because it's cereal and a T-shirt inside, which I'm not gonna spend that much on that. But you can still get it at FYE.
Yeah, it makes sense now that you say like the $30 thing. I was about to say, wait, $30 for a box of cereal, but then when you mentioned the T-shirt thing, I'm like, oh, okay, there's a T-shirt inside it. Okay, it makes sense now.
I was saying $30 for a box of cereal. That is wow.
But when there's something big inside it, that's when you're like, oh, okay, I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about marketing.
We talked a lot about marketing in the last number of minutes. I will just say, the NXT title match, I enjoyed it. Leo, did you enjoy the NXT title match?
It was all right. It's when it comes to NXT TakeOver main events, it's not one of the strongest. But for what it was fine. Both men look good. I hope Joe's new title run goes well. I hope the best for Karrion Kross on the main roster. Oh, and before I pass it on to Will, Joe, I hope you were okay because you look like you're about to pass from that match.
Yep.
I don't know. I was like, seriously, could somebody get this man a water or a Gatorade? Because this man looks like he's about to have a heart attack and just fall to the floor.
Yeah, I will admit, I saw like a few things where I was like, oh shit, is he okay? Maybe that explains why he just doesn't. I think the other reason he goes to NXT is because their schedule is not as enforced as the main rosters right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Like Samoa Joe, I think he's just getting to the age now where he just cannot do a lot of things at once.
Definitely.
And I'm actually glad that NXT can provide him with a good schedule to keep him going in the final stages of his career, and at the same time be able to look after his health.
Yeah.
So props to NXT and props to WWE. Oh, a lot of people really did not do this much, but happy belated birthday to Vince McMahon.
Heck yeah. Because nobody, I think I was the only one on Twitter who actually wished him happy birthday. Unless you guys chimed in too, because I didn't see that much of happy birthday, Vince. I didn't see much. So I'm like, Y'all are being mean. It's Vince's birthday.
I'll be honest, I completely forgot it was his birthday, but yeah, happy belated birthday, you crazy old bastard. I don't care what the IWC says. I still love you.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
76 years old and still going strong.
Dude, for real.
That is one Jack Grandpa.
Real, very jacked. Like, God damn. He's still pumping iron, too, at his age. Like, what the heck, dude?
Well, he's got to stay in a good shape and a good health, and that's actually really good.
For real.
Anyways, Willie, did you enjoy the... Oh, sorry.
I bet he wakes up every morning and just watches Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like we're going to be pumping iron every single day until we are 80 years old.
That's a good... That was a good impression. That was good. All right.
Very good.
Willie, did you enjoy the NXT title match?
I did, but there were parts, like, I tried to pay attention. Like, I was too busy being worried about Joe, because, like, he was legit just sweating throughout the entire match and panting like a freaking dog. Like, I was like, dude, are you good? Like, can we end the match now? Because, like, Joe's about to pass out, for God's sakes. And I think people brought this up to me as well. Like, it's probably because all that ring rust, and he hasn't been in the ring in a long time. But still, it was, like, legit concerning. Because, like, I didn't even pop when he hit the Muscle Buster. I was like, oh, Muscle Buster, nice. Can we get Joe smarter, please? This guy's about to pass out. Like, it was a good match. It wasn't the strongest main events I've seen. But it did its job. But just, I was too concerned about Joe during the entire match. I was just like, someone get this guy some liquid, please.
Yeah.
A good match. Good match. Outcross does well in the main roster. And Joe, good run as champ. Hope he has a good run.
All right, folks. We are now moving on from NXT TakeOver to SummerSlam, which took place the night prior to NXT TakeOver. But as we mentioned before, it had a lot of the more impactful moments. Both good and bad and shocking.
Very.
So, folks, I will say, as we all know, from what I heard, Allegiant Stadium had some issues.
It did. I don't know why I'm laughing at this.
I was like, wait, what the hell? Okay, that's interesting. But it's okay, though.
And toilets were overflowing, the concession stands were working, the Wi-Fi was out. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I'm like, I heard all stuff. I'm like, this is a brand new stadium. Like, even when I was at WrestleMania, which is Raymond James Stadium, which is like a 67-year-old building, like, even then, they didn't have those problems.
I'm like, God damn, I'm surprised the power didn't go out during the show. Because that would have been hilarious.
There was no pyrotechnics, that's for sure.
No, because apparently, from what I've heard, the stadium didn't allow pyro. So that sucks. So that explains why there was no pyrotechnics, because like, they just used smoke, which was awesome, too.
Well, I guess I know where WrestleMania is not going to go now.
Yeah. I kind of hope they do, because they're bringing Money in the Bank for next year. Which
Money in the Bank, folks, is going to be at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas next year.
I'm marked out so hard for that. I'm like, what the heck, WWE?
And for the first time ever, it's on 4th of July weekend.
Which is insane. Like, God
I was like, oh my God. I was honestly about to say to myself, holy shit, I'm going to call it the Losers Lounge. We're going to Vegas.
Holy crap. Like, I was like, what the heck? That is going to be incredible.
I'm shocked it's not the Great American Bash, considering it's on 4th of July weekend.
I think NXT has that.
Yeah, I think they just said that for NXT, but I understand what you're coming at.
WWE.
That's true. That's true.
I understand what you're coming at, man, but I must say, like,
I was like, holy crap! Like, when I popped for that more than the 2K games.
At first, when I was when they were showing like commercials for Money in the Bank, I was like, wait a minute, wasn't that just that was just the previous pay-per-view? Are they doing another one coming up next? I was
That's what I thought too.
I was like, wait, what's going on? And then when they said Money in the Bank, Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, July 4th weekend, 2022, I'm like, oh.
They didn't even say. They just showed Allegiant Stadium. I'm like, we're going back there already? I'm like, God dang, what the heck?
I will say, in my opinion, though, they're kind of going overboard on the stadium shows. I will say, like, WrestleMania, that's tradition at this point. The Royal Rumble and then the occasional SummerSlam, those are special attractions for stadiums. I'm like, okay, I can give a leeway for that. They're big for events. They're some of the biggest ones. But now, Money in the Bank, I understand that's a big event, yes, but Money in the Bank is going to be in a football field.
I think Money in the Bank now is considered like part of the big four, I guess. Now it's big five because like with I don't know, like it has that feel of like a big deal. Yeah, it's a very big show. So I guess I kind of understand why WWE did. I have no complaints about this because like this is something that this is gonna be very interesting. Like and oh my god, like I marked out so hard. I'm like, what the heck?
Personally, I wouldn't mind going to Vegas on 4th of July weekend. That would be fun.
No, thank you. No, thank you, because I'll be at the beach when that happens. So,
when I mean that is because, it's 4th of July weekend. People are definitely going to be celebrating and having a good time. Hell, life at the casino is going to be badass.
Dude, for real.
I should gamble and get fucking drunk all night.
Freaking Money in the Bank. Like, not just that. Holy crap.
Pull your luck up.
Oh, for real. Like Baron Corbin. Poor Baron Corbin. I feel so bad for him. Not only that, they showed 2K22, which is going to be releasing next year.
Yeah, that got delayed to March 2022. I made a funny joke saying, probably because all those releases. They're like, God damn it, now we got to re-edit this game.
Oh, for real.
Even though I know that's not the case, they did say those who were released are still going to be in the game.
Which is amazing.
So people who are worried, like, don't worry, you'll still be able to play as the Fiend or Braun Strowman or the now recurrent Malachi Black, previously known as Aleister Black. They're still going to be in there.
Yeah, they'll be in there.
Yep. They'll be there.
So, because I'll be honest, the delay would have to be to, like, the next year, way past the next year, in order to edit those stuff out.
But thank God they're not doing that, which is amazing.
You got to edit a lot of stuff out and then put other stuff in.
Which I'm giving 2K some credit here because this is something, I guess, that needed to happen. In my opinion, I think should have happened anyways because with the special release, obviously, in a few months. And with this, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense why you're delaying it. And it'll give time to work on the game.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Which I like.
So, the whole thing about SummerSlam at Allegiant Stadium, as we all know, is the stage setup. It gave me a lot of Royal Rumble vibes. Huh?
It was cool.
Yeah, I honestly liked it. Like, here's the thing. I'm not a person who's like, it's a big football field, yes. But here's the thing. I looked at the seating chart, and if you notice, a good portion of it was blocked out.
Yeah. They had, like, the entire stadium was not open, like, full capacity, which I was a little ashamed at, but that's okay.
Yeah, and plus, like, I like what they did as well. Like, it allowed them to have about, I don't think there was 51,000. They kept hyping it up by saying they sold 44,000 tickets, but now they're saying there was 51,000 people.
They inflated it like usual.
Yeah, here's the thing. I ain't going to make a big deal about that, though. I'm just saying, like,
nah.
I don't believe it, but I'm going to move on from that. But I will say the idea of coming out through the dugouts like they do in Royal Rumble, here's the thing. It worked for me in Royal Rumble because Royal Rumble doesn't need a big-time stage setup or anything, like WrestleMania style.
Yeah.
Coming out through the dugouts, kind of like... And here's the thing. If you come out through the dugouts, you're entering exactly as the the football or the baseball players come out.
Yeah. And
plus, I'm like, this is SummerSlam, not WrestleMania. WrestleMania is a whole different thing.
It's all a different ball game.
Yeah. This year, you're not going to expect. WrestleMania, you got a pirate ship, and this year you're not going to get a giant casino jackpot slot as an entrance way to come out of.
That would be sick. Could you imagine? Oh my god.
Actually, as a matter of fact, cool idea. Imagine if they use the slots where you got to get the match in sevens.
Yeah.
Imagine if they use that to hype up what match is coming up next. Ding, ding, ding.
Dude, that would have been fantastic.
That would be awesome, actually. I think I would like that.
That would be fun.
But moving forward now, other than that, I will say the show, I quote it as it had a weak start, but it had a major comeback. It had started off pretty weak, in my opinion, with some of the matches.
Okay.
Some of the matches, quite a lot of them were cut short. Some of them were less than 10 minutes. Some of them were less than 5 minutes. Some of them were only 30 seconds. Actually, one of them was only 30 seconds. But the match, the first match that kicked off the show was the Raw Tag Team Title Match, as AJ Styles and Omos defended against RK Bro. Personally, I thought something like Edge and Seth Rollins would kick off the show.
That's what I thought too.
But when I first started, bro, after we opened the show, I'm like, oh, okay. There's another good one to kick it off with. Riddle and Randy Orton defeated AJ and Omos to win the Raw Tag Team titles in a match that was only 7 minutes long. But in that 7 minutes, it was good.
It was
a great showing by every performer in that match. I mean, it didn't have to be very long because honestly, for what it was, I was perfectly satisfied that it ended that way. Especially with that big RKO out of nowhere to AJ Styles.
That was cool.
RK Bro are the Raw Tag Team Champions.
Right.
And I'm like, this is so good. I like it.
Yeah.
Really made me laugh a lot. So I'll start with Leo. What was your thoughts on the Raw Tag Team Title Match?
I think this was probably the best choice to open the show, considering that Arcade Bro is universally praised as the best thing on Monday Night Raw, which, I agree, even though I'm not one of the people that do nothing but complain about Raw every single week, because I'm not like that. But I do agree it is the best thing on the show, and I'm actually glad that Randy and Riddle are now the champions, because let's be honest, as much as I love AJ Styles and I'm now grown to be a big fan of Omos, don't take that literally, but
oh, I get it. Go ahead.
I'm glad that they're champions, and this is pretty much giving me, it's not exactly but I'm getting vibes of Team Hell No, which I'll be honest is my favorite tag team of all time. I know, what about the Hardy Boys, or what about EXC, or what about the Young Bucks, which screw those dudes. And second, I enjoy the mix of dynamics, not just work rate but character rate. Here you got one person who's always serious, always looking like they want to kill someone, and the other dude's is a stoner, while someone the other, and something like Team Hell No, one is a demonic monster born from hell, and the other one is a goat-faced wrestler.
Yeah,
all the time. But I love those dynamics because they entertain me. They put a smile on my face, and you know what? I'm glad Randy and Riddle are now the tag champs. Fun match to start the show, and now, Will, let's pass it to you.
All right,
thank you, bro. Well, let's see. Really good match to open the show, in my opinion, as well. I would have kicked off with Edge and Rollins. That's just me. But overall, a really fun match, very entertaining. I'm surprised Orton didn't hit the RKO on Omos. That's why I legit thought the match was going to end. But it is what it is. We have new tag team champions, and overall, this is the way to go. Great match, fun moment, great way to kick off the show, and very entertaining too. I liked it.
Yeah, we all had a great laugh, and at the same time, a great fun way to kick things off. And I like how even Riddle is saying, I'm going to hit you with the 3 most deadly letters in sports entertainment. RK Bro. And then you just hear AJ Styles, that's 5 letters, you idiot.
For real.
I think that's the funny part, though. That's 5 letters, you idiot. It's just so funny. I'm loving this. And honestly, I hope they have quite a great reign.
I hope they do, too.
As a matter of fact, actually, here's the thing. I'm going to make an early prediction on them because, folks, yes, Crown Jewel is coming back.
Yep.
And that's okay. I honestly think Crown Jewel has a much more appropriate name this time because of the potential of King and Queen of the Ring. That involves crowns.
Yep.
For once, I'm like, okay, the name Crown Jewel makes sense. It's kind of like a King of the Ring pay-per-view if you want to put it like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I honestly think RK Bro likely might lose the tag titles there to Mustafa Ali and Mansoor. And I would not be against it because I like that tag team.
Yeah.
Mansoor and Mustafa Ali. I accidentally said Mustafa, but it's actually Mustafa. I gotta try and keep myself on a good track here.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, there's quite a number of tag teams that deserve shots against potential of RK Bro, including Mansoor and Mustafa Ali, but also Mason T-Bar.
True.
There's quite a number of tag teams that would look good. One tag team in particular that broke up was Miz and Morrison. What a shame. But it's okay, though. I'm thinking because it'll be in Saudi Arabia, I think that's where Mansoor and Mustafa Ali will likely win the tag team titles. And I personally would not be against this, not just because it's in Saudi Arabia, but it's also because I think they could do well as a tag team.
Yeah.
Okay. The next match, Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie. It sucked. It was stupid. Willie, do you have anything to say?
Like I said last week, it was going to be a piss break match, I guess. It wasn't even a snooze break. There were some funny moments, but they did great. Yeah, there's nothing to talk about. There really isn't.
There really isn't.
There's nothing to talk about for real.
But the only thing I will say is what I really liked was Doudrop at the end. And the loser is Eva Marie!
That's funny.
I actually liked that Doudrop, instead of just going back to Piper Niven, actually said, I'm going to embrace what the bully gave me.
Yep.
It reminded me a lot of me, because Willie, you and I, we've been called losers by bullies our whole lives. Now look at us.
Yep. Exactly.
We are losers, but we don't take L's, we give L's.
Exactly.
You gotta take what the bullies give you and turn it into something positive. That's what I think Doudrop is doing. And honestly, at this point, after being known as Doudrop the last month or so, I don't mind the name anymore. Doesn't sound as bad anymore. Get used to something, eventually. Here's the thing. I know for one thing there are some names nobody would ever get used to, one being Shorty G.
It was okay. I just didn't care for it myself.
He went back to being Chad Gable eventually. But, Doudrop, it's actually not a bad name anymore.
Yeah.
Especially if something good will come out of this. And hell, with Doudrop away from Eva Marie now, this means there's more possibilities in the Raw women's title scene.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Anything's possible now. So, there's nothing much to say about this. But, Leo, do you have any thoughts on the Alexa-Eva match?
Yeah. The match itself was okay for an episode of Raw. But for SummerSlam, I seriously didn't even pay much attention. I mean, I found it kind of silly seeing Eva Marie grab Lily and slap the doll across the face, but
dumb.
But other than that, Alexa's over. At least for the most part, I know people are still crapping on their gimmick, but you know what? It's not going to go away anytime soon. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's nothing much really.
Not really.
Yeah. Let's just get to the next match.
Yeah, the next match was actually an exciting one. It was really good, full of back and forth action. The United States Championship match is Sheamus defended against Damian Priest. And even though, yes, in the hype up, Damian Priest spent pretty much all the time facing off with Miz and Morrison in separate matches or sometimes tag matches, it was still good to see Damian get a good moment at SummerSlam. A lot of people have said, this is another example of wait and see how things play out, because people are saying ever since Damian Priest teamed up with Bad Bunny at WrestleMania, after all that was said and done, he's being wasted because he's just doing the same thing over and over. Wait and see how it plays out, folks, because look what happened. In a big-time match in a stadium at SummerSlam, Damian Priest wins his first singles title on the main roster.
Yep.
Damian Priest is the new United States Champion 1 year to the day he won the North American title in that ladder match at TakeOver 30.
Yep.
The exact same day, just a year later. How cool is that? You can't write this shit. You can't write this shit.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up. This stuff actually happens.
Exactly.
And it was so good. I liked it because I thought to myself, Sheamus has not been a bad U.S. champion. I like his funny thing he's doing about the broken nose thing. It was hilarious. And Sheamus can get the job done and make things look cool.
You can.
And in this case, what was good about this was Sheamus and Damian Priest, they put on a hell of a back and forth action. And when it comes to SummerSlam, I forgot to mention this. Folks, over the same day as SummerSlam, my family from Vancouver, BC showed up, including my father. That shocked the living hell out of me. I did not expect my parents or my baby sister to suddenly show up, figuring this is going to be next to impossible for them to get from those provinces all the way over to here at this point in the pandemic because Canada is really strict. But yet there they were. They traveled by car from Vancouver, BC on the west coast to here in Toronto. That took them about 4 to 5 days. And they kept it a secret the whole time.
Dang.
So it shocked the living hell out of me. So I was excited that because this man, I was going to watch SummerSlam with my dad. This was the first time I watched the wrestling show with him in 8 years. So
Nice, dude.
And given the fact my father is a guy with 30 plus years of experience in the wrestling industry, both in actually wrestling himself and helping out with other talent, this is actually a fun fact, folks. My father actually helped out with the coaching and training of Kyle O'Reilly. That's not a fucking joke.
That's dope.
Because Kyle O'Reilly is a Vancouver native.
That's true.
I didn't mean he's Native American. I just meant, that's where he's from.
Yeah.
And he has been a part in a lot of indie scenes around BC in the early stages of his career. He started off in the early places in the smallest of bingo halls and gyms.
He did.
Rose to the occasion, won so many titles, won so many tournaments. My father did mention Kyle O'Reilly won, I forgot exactly what it was called, but he won a certain wrestling cup like 3 years in a row in a tournament.
PWG probably.
And I was like, it's amazing that he helped out in the coaching and training of Kyle O'Reilly because look where Kyle is now.
Yeah, baby.
And he's like, Kyle O'Reilly, he's honestly one of the best we've ever had in Vancouver and any of places around in BC. When I go around, a lot of people talk about Kyle O'Reilly and the impacts he made on them. As like, so he's actually surprised that Kyle O'Reilly is not on the main roster here.
Exactly.
Maybe one day he will be. We'll have to wait and see how things work out. But that's a very interesting fact. Now back to what we were saying, like throughout the U.S. title match, my dad put a lot of good points. It is actually really cool to watch wrestling with somebody who has 30 plus years of experience in the wrestling industry. That being my father.
That's amazing.
And of course, I'm a wrestler too. When I said I was a second generation, I was not kidding, folks. I actually am. I hope to go back into the ring throughout some point in this decade. Continue with the lineage. So it was cool to hear my father put in a lot of points throughout the Sheamus Damian Priest match, saying that Damian is a guy who, despite being, what was he, like 37 years old, I think?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like this guy is showing like he's really got a lot of talent. He's got what it takes. That title win was well earned.
True.
So I enjoyed that very much. It was really cool. So I'll start with Willie. What was your thoughts on the U.S. title match?
Very brutal, very back and forth. It is what I expected from it. These guys could go. And out of all the matches that was going to be brutal, this was probably the one. And these guys delivered. They took it to each other. Priest, in my opinion, him finally getting this win was just the icing on the cake. Sheamus was not a bad champion. It's just that something was missing. I don't know. Maybe because the opponents were okay-ish, or he barely defended it, which is not his fault, obviously. But he just really wasn't doing that much for me as the champion. But he did a great job. He put Damian Priest over big in this match. Very brutal at times. Very vicious spots in this match. But, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Congratulations, Damian Priest. Fantastic moment. I know a certain somebody who was a big Damian Priest fan who's very happy about it. And just a great moment. Awesome. Like I said that.
Yep. All right. And Leo, your thoughts on the U.S. title match?
It started slow at first for me, but eventually picked up, especially towards at the halfway point, as it became more what I expected, which was like hard hitting, just ground and pound. Especially considering who's in the ring. Like, you got the man formerly known as Punishment Martinez and Sheamus. Like, you know you're gonna get hard hitting stuff no matter what. And I'm glad that Priest finally wins his first championship, which I expected within this year, even after his debut at the Rumble and teaming up with Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. I'm like, you know what? I say this man's gonna be a U.S. champ at SummerSlam, and guess what? Here we are.
Here we are, U.S. champ at SummerSlam.
That's crazy.
I see good things in Damian Priest's future.
Dude, I can see him being WWE champ, Universal champ. That's the truth out there. Intercontinental champ. The guy's great. I think Vince is very high on Damian Priest.
Mm-hmm. He's very high on a lot of people. I guarantee he's very high on a lot of people. We just don't know.
Yeah.
People automatically assume things based on how they see things on the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is that Leo?
And besides, hey, I'm sure Vince would love to mark a Priest as a future world champion, especially for like the Hispanic fan base, because you know how they always market the like Rey Mysterio or someone like that for like the Mexican market. Well, Priest is Puerto Rican, so they love to expand out to the Caribbean fan base, like all those Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, even the Cayman Islands, all those. They'd love to get like a marker for there.
You see right there, folks, this is why we have great people on our podcast.
You know it.
Because we always put in a lot of great things, and it really gets us more hype for the future, and it's just fun to sit down and talk.
Oh, for real.
We're just a bunch of losers talking about wrestling, folks, and we take pride in it. Now, we're going to move on to the next match. The SmackDown Tag Team Title Match. The Usos defended against the Mysterios in a rematch from Money in the Bank. Initially, when we were watching the pre-show, they said it was going to be part of the kickoff. I remember watching that. I was like, wait, again? What? But then all of a sudden, oh, no, never mind. It's on the main show. Oh, okay, thank God.
For real.
Unfortunately, this match was not as good as their Money in the Bank match. Felt downgraded. And plus, here's a big thing that shocked me. I mentioned before, my father was watching with me. He is not impressed with Dominic Mysterio at all.
Oh, dang.
He was like, I get he's Rey Mysterio's son. That's a good thing, but the fact of the matter is, like, he doesn't. A lot of the times, it looks like he's been called up too quickly. He should honestly have started out in developmental or potentially some indie scenes before he made his way up to the big leagues. Because it looks to me like they only brought him up here to SmackDown because he's a Mysterio and he's the son of the legendary Rey. And while Dominic has been in WWE feuds in the past regarding whole Eddie Guerrero in 2005.
Yeah.
Like, this ain't 2005, and Dominic isn't just a kid being fought for custody. Now he's a guy in the ring. And here's the I remember from last year's SummerSlam, his match with Seth Rollins. I thought it was good, but he clearly looked like he was lacking in a lot of places. And I was like, okay, after this, they should definitely send him down to NXT. He could really use help down there. And they didn't. And while he has been impressive in some places, to me, not so much. And I kind of agree with my dad because I remember over the last year, I've said it myself, a lot of times he looks like he got thrown into the mix before his training was ever truly complete. And he can hang with some of the guys, but a lot of the times his opponents have to really work to make him look good. Especially the Usos, they did a good job of making Dominic look great, but at the same time, there was quite a number of botches, especially one where Dominic looked to hit a suplex, and I don't know if he leapt too early, he executed too late, or Jay or Jimmy, whichever one it was, leaped too.
Yeah.
Somebody fucked that up pretty badly. But it kind of looked like Dominic did not hit the right position to let the Uso know, okay, I'm about to hit it right now. As you know, when people hit suplexes, they usually tap their foot on the ground first. Or grab the side, tap the foot, and that's when that signals the opponent to jump. In this case, he didn't do it at all. And plus, there's been a few other times where, he did some high-risk maneuvers, and he almost missed entirely. I noticed the Usos had to walk forward a little bit just so they would get hit. So I'm just hoping that, as time goes on, I'm pretty sure he's going to improve, but right now, I'm not really as impressed with Dominic. The Usos, they retained the titles, and that was good. Because honestly, I like the whole thing going on with the head of the table and the tribal chief, the bloodline. Which we'll be talking about a little bit later on as well. And that's all I got to say about that one. Leo, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the SmackDown Tag Team Title Match?
That's all I gotta say. Just Like, it was nothing special. Their match on Money in the Bank on the kickoff was actually better. This one is fine, but there's nothing much to write home about. I think the thing is we've seen a mix-up of the Mysterios versus the Usos for the last 2 months so many times at this point that it's just kind of, you already know what to expect.
Yeah, I can understand that very much. All
All
right, then.
Yeah, also back to what you were saying before, Dominic, I was impressed with his match last year at SummerSlam, but throughout this year, he's hit or miss. There's sometimes he's shown to be really good, like his father, but then there's other times that you're missing a couple steps, kid. Because I don't know why I'm calling him kid. He's the same as both of you. But I think if he was that, I think it would be great right now if not only was he being coached by his father, but also a bunch of other folks down in the performance center. Hell, if he mixed it up with some people in NXT that give him a couple pointers, I think he'd do great.
Yeah, especially maybe on the likes of Samoa Joe could definitely help him out.
Yeah.
So
Joe, Gargano, Ciampa, some of the trainers like HBK or Albert.
Yeah, Matt Bloom. He could definitely help out. Matt Bloom, let's be honest, has been one of the more dedicated people in WWE.
Oh, definitely.
But
dude, for real.
What I will also say is I get what you're saying as well, because just because he's a Mysterio doesn't mean he's automatically good in the ring. He's good, but here's a flashback. Royal Rumble this year. That was Dominic's first ever Royal Rumble match. He was out in 20 seconds. He only lasted 20 seconds in that match. He stood toe-to-toe with Bobby Lashley, and look how that turns out, huh?
Got freaking flung over the top rope with ease.
Yep. He has not impressed me. He's been wrestling now in WWE for a year. Has not really impressed me that much. The only time, one of the few times he really impressed me was when he took the shit-ton beating with those kendo sticks from Seth Rollins and Murphy.
Oh, boy.
That was frightening.
The only times he really looked like he impressive with his agility is whenever it's either Lashley or Roman Reigns yeeting him out of the ring like Uncle Phil throwing Jazz out of the house.
Yeah. You gotta love a good reference to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, for real.
That's one of the most legendary shows ever. Okay. Willie, your thoughts on the SmackDown Tag Team Title Match?
When as good as the last one, Money in the Bank, it was so good. Lots of near falls, super kicks, Dominic getting distracted like always, which I think is legit leading to a heel turn, which please don't do that, WWE. Please don't turn him heel. For the sake that the guy can't talk, and he has no character besides that he's Rey Mysterio's son.
Oh, you mentioned super kicks? That just reminded me of something. Did y'all see what happened at the end? When the Usos hit the double super kick on Mysterio, they super kicked their own feet.
They did.
They missed Ray completely. I'm surprised they were not like, ow, my foot!
That'd been funny.
I when I saw that, I laughed out. The boys in the call when we were on. Well, you didn't hear me, but I actually shouted out when they hit that. I'm like, my leg,
my leg.
Oh, I heard that one.
All right, well, continue what you were saying though.
Overall, like, it was really good. Like, tag champs retained. Of course, Dominic's getting distracted like usual, but it was still a good match. I mean, there's nothing I really can say for it. I just enjoyed the Money in the Bank match a little bit more than this one.
That's fair enough. All right, folks, the next match has a lot of controversy to talk about. You ready for this?
Oh, boy.
yeah.
The SmackDown Women's Championship as Bianca Belair defended against Sasha Banks.
Wait, Christian, hang on there.
Oh, wait, sorry, you're right, sorry. Bianca Belair defended against Carmella.
Wait, Christian, I got you the wrong script. Let me get the script.
Hey,
where is it?
No, dude,
got it.
No, dude, seriously, look at this right here. See, look at that. It literally says it. Bianca Belair defended against Carmella officially because Sasha Banks was not.
No, Christian, look at it again.
What kind of script? Give me that. What kind of script you reading? There's no way that there's Becky Lynch.
Yes.
Okay, now you're just fucking with me. With me, Willie. This is not the real script. You're just pranking me. Let's go back to what I was.
Happened.
All right, you know what? Tell you what. I'm just going to look it up really quickly. Watch this. I'm going to prove right now, folks, that Bianca Belair defended the title against Becky Lynch. Willie, don't say it. Don't say it.
I told you so.
Ah! Okay. Yes, folks. A lot of crazy shit happened. All right. There's quite a bit we have to talk about for this one. Let's start off with the fact that despite Sasha Banks not being medically cleared to compete at SummerSlam, and WWE knew this for an entire week apparently, they still hyped up Bianca's match with Sasha Banks. They still hyped it up, even up till the moment where Bianca was done making her entrance and it was Sasha's turn to come out.
Yep.
And a lot of confusion happened here and there. Mostly because, like, they showed the video package, the CGI graphics on the screen. Bianca and Sasha continuing their feud, which, let me just put this out there. Their feud heading into SummerSlam was a lot better than the one heading into WrestleMania. We all knew that.
For real.
Yeah.
Better build-up, better talking here and there, better promos with each other, and brawls. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But then Sasha Banks is not medically cleared to compete. The reason, I have no idea, but after the situation with Keith Lee, I am never going to ever guess what's going on.
For real, we should just leave things up for the imagination and not guess, because Keith Lee's thing is really one of the things where, like, wrestling fans should just keep their mouths shut and just
Keith
wait.
Lee, here's the thing, Keith Lee's not been seen in a few weeks. I hope he's okay.
For real.
Because he had a heart inflammation.
He did.
Yeah.
That was the reason he was gone for so long, but I hope he's doing okay. But
Heck yeah.
the whole thing with Sasha Banks, the fact that she was not medically cleared to compete, but yet they still hyped up the match, might mean that up to the day of SummerSlam, they had a feeling that quite possibly she can make it. And were unsure, and they didn't want to just be too hasty and suddenly say, okay, you're out and replaced by this person. Because what if Sasha was suddenly cleared to compete on the day of SummerSlam, but it's too late? I think maybe that's why they continue hyped it up on that part. But I just don't think, by the time the day of SummerSlam came around, they did not put out the news that she would not be able to compete, because people were at the stadium ready to watch Bianca versus Sasha, and they decided to make a surprise. And while, yes, the whole thing with Becky Lynch, from what I heard, it was a week prior to SummerSlam that they contacted her to be the replacement. Because initially, Becky was set to return in October, apparently. probably around the draft time. So plans changed, obviously, but the reason for that is because their original plan is suddenly injured or ill or something's going on. It's private, obviously, because no one's saying anything, and that's a good thing. All we can say is I hope Sasha's okay and I hope she gets back soon. But they announced at the show that Bianca was going to defend against Carmella again.
Yep.
I'm like, here's the thing. If the whole plan was for Becky Lynch, why didn't they just bring her out entirely? The whole thing with Carmella was kind of unneeded. I know it was a swerve thing to make you think, it's going to be Carmella? What? They did the whole thing. Referee raises the title belt, and that's when Becky Lynch's music hit and the man returned for the first time since she announced her pregnancy a year and a half ago. It was cool to see Becky Lynch, and we'll say she looked great.
Yes.
The man. Unfortunately, here's the thing. She gave the idea, how about the EST and the man blow the roof off this joint? Bianca considered it and accepted. Match started and ended in 30 seconds. But here's the thing. As controversial and questionable as it was, folks, this is a certain tradition that happens in wrestling. A champion goes out to the ring. Hell, this is honestly a SummerSlam callback to the first SummerSlam in 1988 when Honky Tonk Man was the Intercontinental Champion and he was set to defend the title against somebody he didn't know who it was. That person ended up being the Ultimate Warrior, and because he was so taken off his game, the Ultimate Warrior crushed him in less than 30 seconds. And so now, in this case, if you look back on the footage, Bianca Belair, when Becky Lynch arrived, she was fangirling the whole time.
Yep.
She was fangirling in the ring. Oh my God, it's Becky Lynch! It's Becky Lynch! Oh my God, I'm so excited! And so when the match began, she was so full of excitement, and she took her eyes off the ball because she's like, oh my God, I'm having a match with Becky Lynch. This is so good. Hey, let's shake hands. Yeah, this is so awesome. And then, bam, one punch to the face, and then the manhandle slam. 1, 2, 3. That's why she lost, is because she was not focused at all. She was ready for Sasha Banks, was confused on the whole thing with Carmella, but she's like, you know what? I've kicked Carmella's ass so many times, I'll just do it again. And then when Becky Lynch showed up, that's when all her focus was gone. So that's the reason, folks, that Bianca lost so quickly. It's questionable, and yes, it pisses a lot of people off because of her having a title reign that started in a big-time match at WrestleMania, but the thing, of course, is her eyes are taken off the ball. She was not focused, not to mention Becky Lynch turned heel right there.
Yes.
That whole thing happened because Bianca had her eyes off the ball. You can question the booking all you want. You can say they shouldn't have done it that way. However, that's a tradition in wrestling that happens when someone is really taken off their game. A big example, Sheamus beat Daniel Bryan in less than 20 seconds at WrestleMania, all because Daniel Bryan had his eyes off the ball.
There's lips on AJ Lee.
A kiss to AJ Lee, turn around, bro kick, 1, 2, 3. He was completely distracted and not focused at all. And so, folks, that's what happens when people are taking out their game. So do not say that Bianca Belair is buried because then Daniel Bryan was buried at WrestleMania 28.
Exactly.
Which he wasn't, because after that happened, he was still a massive part of 2012. And even before Team Hell No. 2012 was the same year. After he had that 18-second crushing defeat at the hands of Sheamus, he had countless pay-per-view title matches with CM Punk. Ta-da, right?
Yep.
My God, it's so simple. It's right there, folks. Bianca Belair is not buried. She's going to come back stronger, and this time when she faces off with Becky, she's 100% focused.
Yep.
And not falling for any bullshit anymore. And not to mention, if Sasha Banks comes back soon, we could have a potential triple threat on our hands. Bianca, Sasha, Becky. Boom! That's money! So, Leo, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts on the SmackDown Women's Title Match and Becky's return?
I was taken aback by Becky's return. I'm like, huh? Because usually, if you leave on a paternity leave, you're gonna have a child. Usually, you need about a year, 10 months at most. That way, you're with your child, and you know, I was kind of confused, but then I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll accept it, and then with the match happening, like I can't. I got the same vibes as you did. Like Bianca wasn't on her, didn't have her A game. She was taken aback by it, and she lost because of it. And so, like I'm not too upset about it, but it is just disappointing to see Bianca lose in such an easy fashion like that. Which yes. I'm saddened, but you know what? We'll see where it goes. But do not even get me started with how the fan base reacted, because not only am I on Twitter and Facebook looking at comments of Becky Lynch's returns, calling us and like, how could you do this to Bianca? Or call Becky a racist, or fucking giving death threats to her child. Like, that was my tipping point. When I'm seeing people making threats to her and Seth's baby Rux, like, are you such fucking disgusting pigs that you are gonna make not only disgusting comments, but death threats to a baby.
Okay.
One
last thing.
You are. Yeah.
One last thing, Leo. Did you just say Rux?
However you say
the baby's name is Rue. Like Rue from Winnie the Pooh? Rue?
I don't know. Things are always spelled differently. Things are spelled in weird ways, and then the silent letters. I know a person whose last name was Beverage spelled with a Q.
What? Are you serious right now?
Yeah. His name was Jeffrey Allen Beverage.
How'd you spell it?
And the word beverage. But right before the G and beverage, there's a Q, and it's silent.
Oh.
And when I first saw it, I'm like, your name is Beverage or Beverage Queegee?
Beverage Queegee. What the
He's like, no, it's Beverage. Why didn't you? It's like, why is it spelled like that?
I asked them, like,
I can understand the name Rue being spelled Roux. It's mostly because that's a different language for the word red.
Yes.
I know, but
all right, but continue on what you were saying
keep on, Leo.
Keep on what you were saying about those threats.
Yeah, that seriously was my tipping point. I'm seeing death threats to a child that's not even a year old. Rue is only like 8 months old, and you're giving death threats. Hell, there's one which just triggered me so much, and you know what I'm talking about, Will. And there's a clip of Game of Thrones where I forget what her name is. She's holding a child and she throws it into the fire, and that seriously made my blood boil so much. And I'm a person that doesn't have high blood pressure, but I'm telling you, my blood was boiling.
To caption that, I would do this to Rue. Like, that's disgusting.
I seriously I quote tweeted to them. And I said, yeah, and this is what I would do to you. And I put a clip of if you've ever seen the movie Jason X, and you know what death I'm talking about.
Okay, that's Let's be careful here. I'm not trying to be taken down here.
I'm not gonna go too overboard with that. But
Yeah.
if you know, you know.
Regardless, yeah, it's absolutely wrong to take things way too personally, all because someone you're a big fan of lost in such a quick fashion. Like, Becky Lynch doesn't deserve the hate because she's not the one who made the call. She doesn't exactly make the decisions right here. If you want to be mad at Vince McMahon, mad at the creative team, that's totally fine. But the whole thing about making death threats of a situation, for one thing, you're too much of a pussy to go through with them in the first place. You would not sacrifice your own life and everything that you have coming for you and your entire life, your hopes and dreams. You would not sacrifice all that just to kill someone who had no control over what happens in wrestling. It's ridiculous. Exactly. All right, so Leo, you pretty much got yourself covered?
Yeah, I've got myself covered, and I know Will has his shtick.
All right, Willie, it's your turn.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I've been waiting for this for months. Ever since she left last year, I was waiting. I bided my time. I was waiting. I was patient. And it finally happened at SummerSlam. You can tell Leo. You can tell Beast. You can tell the rest of the crew that we were on Skype with. When her music hit, I lost my shit. I was so happy to see my girl back. Like, you can legit tell Leo here. Tell him what you did, Leo, when her music hit.
I actually put Will on mute.
Wow.
He actually did. I think he took his headphones off or something like that because the other guys could hear me. It was kind of funny. But legit, just her coming out, man. You can go watch my reactions on my YouTube channel. And
link is in the description, folks.
What's up?
Link is in the description, folks.
Hell yeah, bro. You know it. And I've been waiting. Like, it was legit, I think it was a bigger reaction than when Balor came back to SmackDown last month. And I legit lost my voice. I'm not even joking about that. And I was just so happy to see her back. And everyone knows I love Bex. She's my girl, and I've been waiting for a long time for her to come back. And fantastic moment. Just, I'm still nervous, still goosebumps. Like, it was amazing. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy Black Negan. Of course, you guys know him as Kashawn. He said, okay, I'm gonna tell a little bit of a thing. So Becky, the name Becky actually means Karen. That's actually what Becky means. Becky means a middle-aged white woman. That's what Becky actually means. That is what it actually means in name value and an assumption. Now, big shout out to my buddy Black Negan Kashawn for this quote here that he legit said during when Becky returned. He said, and I quote, "It's the Becky, the Karen of WWE has returned, but where's the Starbucks? Where are her Ugg boots?" So, like I said, Becky means a middle-aged woman, a middle-aged white woman, like Karen. That's what Becky means. And he made all these jokes. And, he said leading up, because ever since I found that freaking thing, he will not let me up. He flat out said that he's going to keep taunting me with that until the day I freaking die. When Becky came out, like, that's all he was doing. Because me and shout out to my buddy Beast over there. And Beast Mode over there. Because he was out here marking out with me and our buddy TJ. And we were over here, us two were marking out. And Leo's over here just complete silent, obviously, for obvious reasons. And Kashawn's here just making jokes and all that. And, where's the Becky? Where's the Starbucks? It was a fun moment. We all soaked it in. It was incredible. Then Becky took out Carmella. And then she's like, I want a title match. Bell rang, punch, manhandle slam. That's what it's called, guys, the manhandle slam. For this thing, it's the raw bottom. It is, but it's called the manhandle slam. 1, 2, 3, done in seconds. I lost my crap even more. I'm like, yo, what the heck? Like, they shocked me twice. Like, I was so freaking happy. Like, just a fantastic. Not only is my girl back, she's champion again. And just like Leo said, and just like Christian Miracle said, Bianca Belair is not buried. You guys need to stop. You guys need to stop with the hashtags and all that. You need to stop making yourselves look like more idiots than you usually are, actually. You need to stop going after Becky's kid. You need to stop going after Becky yourself. If you want to blame somebody, just like Christian Miracle said, you can blame Vince McMahon. And apparently it was Becky's idea to turn heel, which it's according to Dave Matthews, which I don't believe that whatsoever, but that's to each his own. And I think they did the right way. I would have done a little bit more differently. I would have had Becky come out after the match. I would have had Carmella versus Bianca anyways. I would have had it be probably 5 minutes at least. Then Becky comes out. Then Becky, maybe demands a title shot. I don't know. Because Bianca would be like, well, I washed her. Let me wash you. And then Becky would have beaten her right there. I would have done it differently. Am I pissed off that Bianca's title run was over like that? Yes. So just because I'm a humongous Becky fan does not mean that I'm still ashamed of what WWE did right here. They shouldn't have done that, in my opinion. Now, I know y'all are comparing it to Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston. I don't think it's like that because 1F5, that was it. And Kofi jumped into Brock's arms, by the way. All Becky did was just one punch, manhandle slam, 1, 2, 3. I think Brock's was a lot more quicker. Yeah. And I don't think Bianca's buried. You guys are throwing around that word once again. Y'all don't know what the meaning of the word buried is. If you do, if there are people out there who know what the meaning of the word buried is, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you know what we're talking about with the word buried. You're just throwing it out there because you're trying to be cool. You're trying to be hip with the IWC and the YWC. You're throwing it out around there like a middle-aged person in New York, and you're a nobody, in my opinion.
Wow.
If you don't know what the word buried is, sit down, shut your mouth, rethink wrestling. And finally, y'all are saying that Becky Lynch is racist. I think that Leo covered that one entirely.
Yep.
Becky Lynch is not racist.
Hell no.
WWE has history of doing things with, but they're doing this to the black culture. Coming from a black guy myself, which I am, that was not a racist thing. I'm the black guy who loves Becky Lynch. My two heroes are Becky Lynch and Finn Balor, for God's sakes.
And they're both Irish and white.
Yep. Leo legit says that I have some kind of Irish fetish, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I even said to him one day, you better hope there's a black Irish woman because that's going to be your wife.
Exactly. He legit said it. I was like, maybe.
What I will also say is the thing, of course, is it's not a. Here's the thing. While WWE has had some history of questionable things regarding black people, this whole thing with defeating, squashing Bianca Belair, not to mention squashing Kofi Kingston a couple years ago, it's not a race thing. Because, the two people who squashed him, they're Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar. They're two of the biggest stars. They're bigger stars than those two. And it's not because they're white. Just like, Bianca Belair, she's not a star because she's black. She's a star because she's damn good in the ring at what she does. Not to mention, of course, like any other black wrestler, both male or female. Current WWE champ, Bobby Lashley. He's not champion and great because he's black. And he wasn't pushed because he's black. He was pushed because of his damn talent, and not to mention how great he is. That's the thing people gotta get. You gotta get the race thing out of your head. Stop activating the race card because if you add the race card to the table, you're gonna lose.
That's exactly what I said months ago when they were coming at me with the whole Sasha Banks and Bianca thing. I'm like, you guys are doing that. You're losing.
That's the thing. SummerSlam's in Vegas, so it's kind of appropriate that we say, I'll see your booking decision, and I'll race you with the race card. Take a look. Yeah. Race card. Haha. Looks like I went. Nope. You lost.
What you got, Leo?
But I was about to say, it's all about race. At WrestleMania this year, I should have been in the crowd watching Drew McIntyre beat Bobby Lashley within 10 seconds with one Claymore. If that's the case, why did The Rock beat Eric Rowan in 6 seconds 6 years ago or 5 years ago, however long it was?
Exactly.
You can't just throw race into everything or gender or sexuality because you're just making your points of being nothing but a bunch of BS because you're just taking the easy way out and not putting the effort into it and not giving valid points.
Yeah, the whole thing, like, just like, the whole thing about having Sasha and Bianca being the quote-unquote main event at night one of WrestleMania, it was put in place because people wouldn't shut up about calling them racist and sexist. Because, we had two black women who, and at the time, two black women had never been in a major match like that at WrestleMania before. And people were just too determined to make sure that would happen by any means necessary, even if it meant calling people racist and sexist if they disagree with it. Everybody in this podcast right now has been on the receiving end of that shit.
Exactly.
Here's the thing.
We do.
But here's
we just
the thing.
turn the other cheek.
Bianca and Sasha, to my point of view, it did not... Hold on, I'm still... Here's the thing. In my opinion, like, Bianca and Sasha, that was a big-time matchup at WrestleMania. It was not the main event, in my opinion, because main event of night one is like, being the last kick before the halftime show begins in football. But I'm just saying, it's like, the whole thing should not be about race. That's not why
exactly.
It should be.
If you want to make it about race, I'm not going to make it about race, what I'm saying this year, but I'll go back to an example. WrestleMania 35. If you want the real thing about quote-unquote race, Ronda Rousey is the first, basically, African-American to main event WrestleMania. Well, not one-on-one, obviously, two black African-Americans, but Ronda, like I said, is black. She has African-American in her. Whether you like it or not, it is true. And she was in there in the ring with Becky Lynch and Charlotte. So,
yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's history there.
That's another thing that people have to understand. Just because she looks physically white does not mean she ain't black.
Exactly.
Skin color, here's the thing. Being black is not it's not just a skin color thing. Here's the thing. It's because of, her heritage.
Exactly.
If you have that in your heritage, in a way, you are part black. In this case, of course, with Kofi, look at Kofi Kingston. He was honestly the first full African-American WWE champion ever.
Exactly, bro.
But they did not give him the title because of that. They gave him the title because he was fucking over with the crowd. Kofi Mania was the biggest thing around.
You know it.
All right, Leo.
So you don't need to calm down and put all this stuff aside. Leave Becky Lynch alone. And she's apparently heel, which I am totally fine with because heel Becky is going to be money. And will they boo Becky Lynch? We don't know. You're not going to... You can try all you want, but I'm not going to boo Becky Lynch. You can try all you want.
Yeah, Leo, did you also have something you wanted to say as well before I said I was still talking?
Who, me? Or Leo?
Yeah, Leo.
Yeah, Leo.
Back to what you were saying, beforehand, we've all been on the receiving end of being called racists and whatnot. Yeah, we're all a mix of a bunch of different things, and that it kind of, whenever I'm called a racist, I just kind of laugh at it because, like, Christian, you are descent of Native American.
I am Native American. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think I'm pretty much full Native American, actually.
I've
been on the receiving end of racism. Yes.
Will, you are obviously you are African American.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what other stuff you got in you, but I can tell you I can tell you a majority of what I have is basically like 6 different nations of like Spanish, like Cuban, Spanish, Mexican, Colombian. What else do I have Chinese in me. I've got not only that, when it comes to my Cuban side, I actually have native Cuban in me. Yeah, my family's actually descent of the natives that lived up on the island.
Nice.
Yeah. What else? I have Jewish in me, and I also have distant black in me. So I actually have a connection to Rhonda in that way. Like, we have distant black in our family.
I'm connected to Rhonda too, obviously. So it's cool.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like, here's the thing. Like, just because we disagree with certain things doesn't mean we're going after someone's heritage or skin color, because that's not what that's not what we do here.
No.
Oh.
So, yes, I will say, the SmackDown Women's Title match was marred with controversy quite a lot. Yes, I'll admit that. And maybe it could have been done a lot better than that. But you know what? A lot of things could be done a lot better than they actually were. But at the end of the day, you can't change what's already happened. All you can do is just move forward.
Move forward and just look at the future.
Yeah, like Walt Disney once said, keep moving forward.
Yeah, Walt Disney.
Exactly.
That's been one of Walt Disney's big mottos. And of course, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, Walt Disney did have his own share of racism.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to discuss that because that's way too off topic here.
Yeah.
We're going to move forward now to the next match. We talked a lot about the SmackDown Women's Title Match, guys, because I had a lot of controversy in it. We still have quite a lot more to go. So the next match, this match may not take a lot of time. Drew McIntyre took on Jinder Mahal, and Veer and Shanky, who were with Jinder Mahal, were banned from ringside. And I'll be honest, this match could have been done a lot better. Instead, it was a literal copy-paste of what's been going on with Raw. Drew McIntyre beats Jinder Mahal quickly. It was less than 5 minutes long. Veer and Shanky show up. Drew brings out his sword named Angela. Threatens to whack them with the sword. They retreat out of the ring. And then Drew poses to the crowd with the sword. I'm like, I know that's not a real sword, but... So, it's obviously not a real sword. We all know that. So, I'm honestly thinking to myself, couldn't he have at least hit one of them with the sword?
Exactly.
Make it seem like it was a big thing, like hit Veer and or Shanky in the back with it. Oh, he got hit with a sword! That way Drew can at least hit somebody with it. I'm not encouraging, like, decapitation or anything like that, because that's not a real damn sword. We all know that.
Exactly.
They can make it look good, though.
I was about to say, Christian, if you're promoting decapitation, you turning into Jack Black?
Oh, wow. Jack Black, y'all. Legendary. All right, but the thing, of course, is, like, I kind of figured Drew McIntyre would win. I honestly think they had this match just so they could put Drew on the card. Because this honestly was not just like Eva Marie and Alexa Bliss. This was another example of just a Monday Night Raw thing. Really did not need to.
I did not pay attention. I was too pumped with adrenaline from the last thing.
Yeah. But here's another.
I was way too pumped up.
This is another thing I'll actually bring up. I forgot to mention this. Rick Boogs showed up with Shinsuke Nakamura just for a small, tiny performance, but then that was it. I didn't get that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought...
Showed up and danced with Pat McAfee and Michael Cole.
I was actually about to say, wait a minute, does Shinsuke have an impromptu match or something? But then, no, it's like, no, it's just it was a little performance, that's all. So that was
cool. They danced with Pat McAfee and all that, so...
Okay. Oh, there's also something else I wanted to bring up. We had some guest interviewers backstage, Mario Lopez and Tiffany Haddish.
Yep.
Mario Lopez accidentally said WWF. Actually, I don't think that was accidental because he's like, I've been a fan of WWE ever since back in the days of the WWF.
Yep.
But I'm like, he doesn't work for the company, so what's the worst they can do to him?
Nothing.
Exactly. Tiffany Haddish had her moment because when she introduced Damian Priest, she was like, please welcome first-time national champion Damian Priest. I'm like, national champion? Are they going to retire the U.S. title and replace it with that now? Just so they don't make her look stupid?
Yeah, they had those TikTok winners, which
they were
okay.
And then guess what? Then she said, congrats, Damian, on winning your first WWE championship. I'm like, that's not the same title! Two different titles.
She's talking about main roster-wise, WWE championship, even though that's the U.S. championship. Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, she said two different title belts, but did not mention the United States, though, which was its legitimate name. That was just funny as hell.
Exactly.
But, yeah, the guest interview thing, that was weird as hell. But, back to Drew and Jinder, their feud went on for months prior to SummerSlam. It was one of the very few feuds that actually had quite a long time for build-up.
True.
But it did not deliver at all. In fact, I'd say one of their encounters on Raw was better than this. Drew defeated Jinder like nothing. Like this guy was not a former WWE champion. Like this guy did not beat Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura on multiple pay-per-views in a row. And I'm like, that's just frustrating in my opinion. I mean, I know you want Drew McIntyre to have a good moment and all, but good God, that was horrible. This is the guy who beat Brock Lesnar a year and a half ago?
Yes.
What the hell happened?
Fans turned on him.
Of course. Oh, Willie, who could have predicted this?
Exactly. Fans
Hello! Go back to our podcast. We predicted this.
Yep.
We were right the whole damn time, and you know it.
Yep.
All right, well, Leo, any thoughts on the Drew vs. Jinder match? I'll take that as a no.
Exactly.
Leo, are you actually there, man?
Yeah. I'm sorry that my internet connection is getting poor, but I barely heard you.
Oh, I would have thought the reason that you weren't responding is because I asked you what your thoughts on the Drew versus Jinder match was, and you didn't say anything, so I assumed that meant nope.
No, I couldn't hear you because you kept breaking up because my internet connection is so crap.
That's okay. Do you have any thoughts?
Basically, all I gotta say is this is exactly what I expected. Drew beating Jinder like it's nothing. Like hell, even if I was a wrestler, I would have beat Jinder like it was nothing because that man is seriously went from WWE champion to low card jobber within a couple of years like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And besides, Drew is not going to lose to Jinder. This is a guy who beat Brock Lesnar within 5 minutes. Like, you think he's going to lose to, of all people, Jinder Mahal?
Exactly.
So, yeah. At least now the feud's over.
Yeah.
Thank God.
All right. Well, Willie, your thoughts on the Drew vs. Jinder match?
No.
Okay then.
No, I legit have nothing. Because like I said, I was too hyped up with what we had with the last thing. I barely paid the thing I did was I looked up and the second I look up, it's like, oh, Claymore, it's over. I was like, well, that was quick.
Well, there you go then. All right, we're gonna move on to the next match. This is where things really picked up again. The triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship as Nikki ASH defended against Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. And I will say, throughout this triple threat, it was actually good. It was good.
Yep.
Each one of these three women performed valiantly. Well done. I enjoyed it. And ladies and gentlemen, your winner and 17,000-time women's champion, Charlotte Flair. What the fuck?
Exactly.
You think that was a perfect reaction? Tried to make it sound good, and then I just couldn't say it.
What Not only that, Christian, she made the champion tap out.
Yeah, what the fuck is this? So you had Nikki ASH win the Money in the Bank ladder match, cash in a day later, only to just tap out to Charlotte again. Well, there goes that. There goes that, folks. Yep. My opinion, it's a shame too because Nikki ASH, despite the fact the gimmick wasn't the best thing going on for her, it was her idea and she was having a good time with it. And plus, she was performing very well in the ring with Charlotte and Rhea.
When I said last year she was going to be a transitional champion, I was joking. WWE. What the heck? I was joking.
If you think about it, Charlotte was a transitional champion to a transitional champion to her.
Does that mean Charlotte's going to be a transitional champion again? Because you know who's next.
Yeah. Here's the thing. When it comes to the likes of Charlotte Flair, the last time she had a long title reign was her first reign as SmackDown Women's Champion in 2017.
Gross.
When she beat Natalya and held on to the title up to past WrestleMania. But other than that, her title reigns after that were either less than a month, less than 2 weeks, less than a week, less than a day, Less than a fucking 10 minutes.
Oh, God dang it, dude.
I don't understand this.
I'll tell you exactly why they did it.
Well, hold
You
on.
know why they did it?
Yeah.
To give freaking Charlotte another run as You know exactly why they did it. To give Charlotte another run as champion. And I guess people they're just like, well, they're not taking the Nikki ASH. Well, let's take the belt off her. Then why didn't you put it back on Rhea?
Oh, my God.
If anything, Rhea Ripley should have won this match. You're going to have to I was fine with Nikki ASH as champion. Like, oh, my God. No joke. When Charlotte won the freaking title, the call I was in with the boys, we just collectively groaned and got pissed. Like, oh, my God. This time Charlotte didn't crash Peacock like last time. Yes, legit. Last time Charlotte was on our TV screens on a pay-per-view, she crashed Peacock.
I highly doubt that was because of her, but that was...
Best way I could describe it, she broke the cock.
She broke the cock. She broke the cock, and this time wasn't standing up correctly. Give me a break, WWE. What are you doing? Like, do not get me wrong. I like Charlotte Flair. I do. I was happy when she returned last year. Very happy. Welcome back. But you're back to the same old formula. I'm not surprised, WWE. I am not surprised you did this, to be honest with you. And like I said, last week, I was joking when I said Nikki ASH was going to be a transitional champion. I didn't mean for them to take it literally. Why did you take it off of her? Where's she going to go? Now, granted, we don't know where it's going to go. We don't know what Nikki ASH is going to do. But but look at the reaction she's getting at live events. She's getting booed out of the building. Then that means I guess people aren't taking the word. That's fine. That's fine. I enjoyed it, but she didn't deserve this. Rhea didn't deserve this. So let me get this straight. You took the title off Rhea Ripley to put it on Charlotte Flair, to put it on Nikki ASH, to put it right back on Charlotte Flair. Am I sensing a pattern here, WWE? Huh? Exactly. Of course I am. What are you doing? What is this booking decision?
This is the second women's title match of the night that had a lot of questionable controversy.
This is more questionable controversy than the last one. Like, what are you doing? That's my honest truth right there. That's what it is. Like, this had more controversy than the last one.
Yeah,
like,
at least
nobody wanted this.
Yeah, at least what's going on with Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair is they're setting something up to a big story given by Bianca's promo the next night on a WWE live show. At least they're setting something up. That's the next chapter of the story here. In the case of Charlotte Flair winning yet another championship, that's the moment when we're like, what the hell's going on here?
What do you do? And we know who's next. Of course, Alexa Bliss is next. Does Alexa take the title? You put the title on Alexa Bliss? What's going to happen? People get bored of Alexa Bliss, which people are getting bored and saying, oh, she's so Bray Wyatt, blah, 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 and all that garbage that people are spewing on the internet. And what are you doing?
Oh, my God. I just now realized this was a missed opportunity.
What's that?
Rhea Ripley should have won the title, and Alexa could have gone after her for eliminating her in the Royal Rumble match.
Because of the Royal Rumble, if you guys remember, Alexa Bliss, I think, what was it? Who eliminated who?
Rhea Ripley eliminated Alexa Bliss.
That's right.
Before she had a chance to activate her magic.
That's right. That's why I would have had Alexa win the Money in the Bank briefcase. But I was fine with Nikki ASH because I was like, okay, that's new. What do? You give her the freaking briefcase. She wins the championship the next night. What do you do? A few weeks later, let's get back to Charlotte Flair. Yeah.
Should have been Rhea Ripley because there's your feud right there with Alexa. Because she doesn't forget, just like the Fiend didn't forget.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. Rhea caused Alexa to be out of the match in 20 seconds this past January.
Exactly.
There was your chance. You missed it. You fucked it up.
And you blew it, WWE. I want to give you something here, WWE. Here's your pout cookie. Now sit over there in the corner and pout. Because you guys did a bad thing. A very, very bad thing.
Okay, let's be fair. Technically, we're the ones pouting right now.
Well, let me rephrase that. Let me give you your smiling cookie and your FU cookie. Take those, go sit in the corner. You are bad. Bad WWE. What the heck's wrong with you? What is this booking decision?
Speaking of smiling cookies, it is quite possible that Tim Hortons around in Canada are going to have those smiley cookies back out again. I can't wait for that.
Well, there's that at least.
Yeah.
I ain't smiling at this. Nobody's smiling at this because maybe, I'm not trying to speak to the majority out there. There are people who probably wanted this. That's great. That's your opinion. If you want Charlotte Flair to be champion again, that's totally great. But she's lost it more than she's freaking gained the championship. God dang. I know they're trying to ever beat her father's record and all that, even though a certain somebody should have done that already. But come on, Dominic, what are you doing? And what's going to happen if Alexa Bliss loses to Charlotte Flair? Well, that's going to make everyone else happy because Alexa Bliss, apparently in everybody's eyes, is a nobody. And fans' eyes, Nikki ASH is a nobody. And fans' eyes, Rhea Ripley is buried. Now, granted, last year I did kind of say that Rhea Ripley was buried because you really didn't do that much, in my opinion, but that's just me. That's last year. This is 2021. Charlotte Flair is old news right now, and I get it. I know. I saw all the comments. Oh, it's the 4 Horsewomen taking over. The 4 Horsewomen are taking over. You do realize one is out with an injury, and she won't be back until next year, and the other one is, I don't know where she is. The other two, Becky and Charlotte, are champions. One I have no problem with, and the other I have a big problem with. One deserves to be champion, and the other does not deserve to be champion. Wondering what you guys can figure out. You guys write in the comments down below. This is ridiculous. What are you doing? What is this? Oh my gosh. What are you doing? This is like I said, this is more questionable than the last freaking women's match we had. Why? Why did you do this? It's so frustrating. And Nikki didn't deserve this, period. You made the champion tap out. I thought it was going to be, Rhea or Nikki ASH sneaking a win in. For God's sakes, Leo saw this match live, for God's sakes, at live events.
Yeah.
Yeah. No joke. The day after I went to SmackDown, I went to a house show. They gave me Rhea Ripley, Nikki, and Charlotte in a triple threat. And what I saw, I thought was going to happen here, and that was Nikki Cross was gonna win once Charlotte got Rhea in a figure eight. Nikki snuck under Charlotte into a crucifix like pin and pinned Charlotte there and retained. I expected to see that.
Yeah, I honestly thought something like that, similar would happen in that case as well. Or for my case, it would have been like Rhea Ripley connected a riptide to Charlotte Flair, and as she was going for the cover, there's Nikki ASH on the top rope connecting on the two of them, and then she covers Charlotte. That could have happened as well. But, yeah, I don't understand this and whatnot. Charlotte Flair is a 6-time Raw Women's Champ now, and a 5-time SmackDown Women's Champ, 2-time NXT Women's Champ, 1-time Divas Champ, 1-time Tag Champ. Okay, the Tag Champ thing, well, that's fine. I don't really give a shit about that. The Divas title, that wasn't an over.
Would you like me to share some statistics that I realized that I told Will and our friends the other day?
Share away.
Okay. Yeah, Charlotte is now actually. Let me recount. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 6-time Raw Women's Champion, 5-time SmackDown Women's Champion, 2-time NXT Women's Champion, and 1-time Divas Champion. She has won 14 Women's Championships in the course of 6 years.
But unfortunately, they're not counting the NXT Women's title reigns, even though they clearly count.
Too bad. I'm still going to count.
Yeah, she's a 14-time champ. She's 2 away from 16 now.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And Ric Flair, her father, won 16 world championships within the course of 19 years.
19 years, folks.
19 years.
And while some of it he went back and forth with winning the NWA heavyweight title several times. That happened, yes. However, they weren't every, month or so.
Exactly.
So I don't understand, this whole situation.
And at least when he won it, it was under some circumstances that were not under his control, or they needed to do something to kind of switch things up. But hey, at least they spaced it out. It was the course of 19 years, and sometimes he even held the title for at least a couple of months, maybe even a year.
Yep.
Yeah, I a lot of times I just didn't get this. I just really hope we're not going to go on a back and forth charade like 2016 where Sasha and Charlotte traded 7 title reigns in 4 months.
No. Please, no.
That was just horrible. God,
Please, no.
I'll be honest, I got a really bad headache talking about this. This was just really frustrating.
You know, there's these things called waiting periods. And what you do is you wait to give a certain person a push, or you give that certain person the title. You should have waited to put the title back on Charlotte Flair. Heck, you should have waited to take the title off of Nikki ASH. What's the problem? Where's Nikki going to go after this? I really hope you don't pull off the card, because most of your women on Raw are missing.
From the looks of things, it seems like she's going to be in a tag team with Rhea Ripley.
Oh, joy. I'm actually looking forward to that. Actually should be fun.
Yeah, that actually would sound good, but yeah.
You shouldn't have done that. That's no excuse. You shouldn't have done what you did. Now go sit down and get in the corner.
Now, here's the thing. When it comes to the women's Money in the Bank briefcase holders,
God.
Nikki ASH was the quickest to lose her title.
Disgusting.
Yeah, look at Carmella. She held onto the briefcase for a long time, won the title, and held onto it for like 4 to 5 months. Then you have Alexa Bliss. She was the second shortest. She only held on it for 2 months before she lost it to Ronda Rousey. But it actually got interesting. That was interesting because it's Alexa Bliss, and we did not see it coming, and it was amazing. It worked out.
Exactly.
2019, Bayley. As a result of this, with the exception of a 5-day period, she was women's champ for 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And then,
exactly.
And then you have Asuka. She won the women's. Well, technically that was for the Raw Women's title, but she was Raw Women's champ, with the exception of a 1 month of losing it to Sasha Banks up to the next WrestleMania. And now, Nikki ASH, she won the briefcase, and the most shocking thing ever, because it was the most creative way of winning that briefcase. While everybody was fighting atop, she sneaked past all of them and got the prize. That was awesome. It was awesome to see that. Then she cashed in the next night. She held on to the title for just a little over a month. That's it. It's over.
Then you do this because reasons. If the reason you did is because Nikki ASH was not getting over fans, I completely understand that. That's fine. That's the other thing. Like we were talking about earlier with Karen Cross, her gimmick caters to kids, little girls.
Yep.
The superhero shtick.
Yeah, I saw some people actually wearing similar outfits.
See?
That was awesome.
It caters to kids. Caters to adults, too.
Hell, in her entrance, there's a grown-ass man who had a sign that said, Nikki ASH is my superhero.
See?
Ta-da! Okay, but overall, Leo, what was your thoughts on the title match?
It was all right, considering I already saw it live at the house show. It was what it was. I think it was fine. Triple threat. I hate Charlotte's now champion again, but what are we gonna do about it?
Exactly. At the end of the day, we can't do anything.
Nothing we can do. Willie, overall, what are your thoughts on the title match?
It was okay. There was a scary spot in the match with Charlotte Flair doing her moonsault, and her freaking knee bashed into Nikki ASH's skull in between the barricade, and that was scary as heck. Other than that,
actually,
match.
Hey, you brought up a good point or something. There was a moment I think Rhea actually hurt her leg, because remember when she got thrown over the top rope, she landed on her legs like in a way that could have tore up her shins.
Yep.
I was like, oh shit, is she okay?
Her knees, the bones of her legs could have just popped out, and we would have seen.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, is she okay?
Exactly.
But overall, like, it was a good match. It's just the ending really pissed us off because we got yet another Charlotte win.
See, folks, we're not really complaining. Actually, what the hell are we talking about? Of course we're complaining because we didn't like the decision. This is the part where we're saying that complaining is actually warranted. This right here is warranted of complaining.
Because no matter what we try to come up with, we just cannot come with a good logical explanation for this.
Nope.
Not even us losers can come up with something good. Because there'll come some point where even we have to accept it. That it sucks.
Good match, wrong ending. Enough said.
All right, well, good thing is we're going to move on to the next match. We're getting closer to the 3-hour mark now on the podcast. But this next match was a huge pickup, and that was Edge versus Seth Rollins.
Yep.
And man, what'd you think of that Brood entrance at the start?
Sick.
If only Gangrel was there, how cool would that have been? But here's the thing, you gotta admit, the Brood's theme has one of the most sickest beats in all entrance themes ever.
Oh, for real.
Because to see Edge rise up like that was amazing. And I think it also worked out because, you know, like, the whole thing, the reason it worked out is because, like, there was no pyrotechnics, so he could not do his signature pose with pyro.
Yep.
So I like what they did there. But other than that, though, I really enjoyed the whole thing, the whole experience. The build-up with Edge and Seth Rollins was the best in all of SummerSlam.
Oh, for real.
Because it was like 7 years in the making. It was awesome. They both went very good with back and forth stuff. I like how Seth Rollins countered a spear into the pedigree at one point.
That was sick.
However, in my opinion, it just wasn't done as good as the time he did it to Roman because he did not connect Edge's arms in time.
Yeah.
It was still good, but it just wasn't that good is what I'm saying. But other than that, it was awesome. The match was great.
It was.
Edge wins the match by submission.
He did.
Like, he locked in like what's known as a bulldog choke.
Yep.
Kind of like a mixture of a crossface and a sleeper hold. Arm was hooked, and then he's just lifting him up. I'm like, he's practically strangling him to death.
Yep.
And then, boom, tap out. The fact that Edge went for submissions again after countering the curb stomp several times. The educator, crossface, and then the chokehold. Seth Rollins did a good job at making Edge look really good. Not to mention, freaked me out at several points when he went after the neck. Because here's the thing, Edge may have been cleared, but at the same time, you still got to be careful.
You do.
Got to still protect Edge as much as possible. That's why I still hope to this day we don't see him in any more crazy ladder matches anymore.
Please no. Or against a Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, bad idea.
Or anybody who targets necks.
I like one of my favorite parts of the match was when Seth went for the curb stomp and Edge literally caught his foot.
That
was
sick.
On the ground, huh? He's like, "No, I will not let you do this to me."
Yep.
And that was so good. I enjoyed that very much. And
it was amazing.
Yep, in my opinion, the right winner won the match. Edge honestly earned that win more than Edge, in my opinion. Needed the win more than Seth really did. All right, Heel Balor, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the Edge Seth Rollins match?
Overall, pretty good match. I think this is my favorite match of the night. There are moments where I was like legit freaking out because of the stuff they were doing. That match was brutal. Him targeting the neck, Seth Rollins targeting the neck throughout the entire match. That spear counter to the pedigree was sick. The curb stomp counter was sick, and just it was a very brutal match. The right winner, I don't know. I think Seth Rollins, I guess, kind of. I don't even say he needed to win. I just want Seth Rollins to win. I think it would have been great to see what would happen. But overall, I enjoyed it. Edge won. Very fun match. Great ending. I liked it. Good stuff.
Yes, indeed. I just after the controversial stuff we saw, it was good and refreshing to see a great back and forth match against two of the very best we got right now.
True.
That was a great dream match, and it was well executed. In the future, I hope one day we get to see Edge take on someone like AJ Styles.
Please, yes.
There's a lot of people who can put on great dream matches with Edge, and AJ is one of them. Roman Reigns, check. Seth Rollins, check. AJ Styles, you're next. Which we'll be talking about that guy in a moment, but before we get to that, Leo, your thoughts on the Edge versus Seth Rollins match?
Easily match of the night. I love the entrance. I love the great back and forth, the technicality, the submission holds, the counter after counter, spots. I also love how I know Edge is older and doesn't move as quickly, but you know what? He actually works smarter because he knew things were the Seth kept trying to hit the curse, and he just kept countering by any means, no matter what. And to me, that's just great storytelling. And if there's anything that I enjoy more than just good wrestling, it's storytelling in the ring. Because without it, to me, I wouldn't really care if you do about 100 flips all over the top rope, or how many super kicks you do, or how many finishers you can kick out. If you make a good story out of counters and like making big spots work, then you check all my boxes. And this match did just that.
Ta-da! We are such a great podcast.
We're
SummerSlam
amazing.
had its ups, its downs, and its controversies. And its dream matches. Not to mention, of course, its fantastic main events. And, of course...
Oh, yeah.
Coming up next, we're talking about the WWE Championship between Bobby Lashley and Bill Goldberg, which, of course, was, it shocked the living hell out of me, because the first thing we ever saw in the match, Goldberg grappled with Bobby Lashley.
Oh, for real?
When the moment I saw that, I was like, wait, what? He's not going for a spear? What? I thought he was going to go for a spear instantly. Like he always does. But the fact that we were watching Goldberg do wrestling moves, a couple of body slams, a couple of power slams, and a few other counters and clotheslines. Hell, one of my favorite things was Goldberg looked to hit an Irish whip on Lashley, and Lashley was going to do the counter, and Goldberg saw it coming, so he hit a clothesline.
Yep.
I'm like, the match was 7 minutes. 7 minutes. This is the longest match Goldberg has had since he came back in 2016.
Yep.
His longest match prior to that was with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania in Orlando at 5 minutes.
Actually, his longest match was with The Undertaker at Super Showdown, which went 8 minutes.
Actually, that was 6.
Was it?
Yeah, it was just a little over 5 minutes because of what happened with the concussion. But the whole thing right there was the fact that Goldberg did not immediately go for any spears. Neither did Lashley go for any of his finishers early on. Like, it made the match good. Goldberg made Lashley look dominant, and Lashley made Goldberg look great even at his age.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just surprised at how much... Like, here's the thing. Imagine if Goldberg's other matches were actually like that. Then maybe it wouldn't be so bad, but the big problem is him contesting for titles all the time. That's the big problem, obviously. If he wasn't contesting for titles and he was competing against these guys, not for any belts, then maybe we'd be fine with him winning because he doesn't get anything as a result, and the opponent doesn't lose any big-time momentum.
Yeah.
So it surprised me, but we gotta admit, when MVP hit Goldberg with this walking stick, he reacted way too late.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that's what injured his knee, because if you noticed, Goldberg tried to hit a jackhammer. Lashley countered, so he landed on the ground. Then Lashley tried to do the same thing to Goldberg, and when Goldberg hit, that's when he suddenly buckled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's when I think he hurt his knee. I don't think they just had MVP hit him with a walking stick just to see if you can, make it seem like, oh, that's the reason why. But the moment I saw that, I was like, oh, he's done. He's done for. With an injured knee like that, he would not be able to hit a jackhammer if he tried.
True.
Not a single jackhammer was hit, and the only spear that took place was outside the ring.
Yep.
But I like the multiple chop blocks that made Goldberg, flip forward and everything.
That's cool.
Here's the thing, people are crapping all over this. I'm like, Goldberg lost by referee stoppage because he couldn't continue, and you're pissed about that? Like, honestly, pinning Goldberg or submitting him is one thing, But to make him unable to continue is something nobody has done.
Exactly.
Can you think of a single person who made Goldberg unable to continue the match?
Yeah.
No one! That's a first ever. Referee stoppage is another way of saying knockout.
Yep.
It's a TKO win for Bobby Lashley. That would just went ahead and further proved him as the almighty WWE champion.
Yep.
When that happened, I was like, holy shit. Perhaps Goldberg is legitimately injured, but this is the first time that Goldberg's ever been unable to continue a match again in any situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is insane, and this is making Bobby look insanely stronger than he ever did before.
And dangerous.
So I don't see what the whole deal is about how saying, that was horrible or something like that. I'm like, it wasn't a good match in the first place because what'd you expect? Not to mention, it was a lot better than any of the Goldberg match we kind of figured it would be. And the fact of the matter is, Goldberg was put down with several chop blocks because he legitimately injured his knee.
Yep.
And a lot of this made it seem like, Lashley did it because he's the freaking almighty champion. And as a result, Goldberg could not continue the match. Referee rings the bell to call the TKO. Then Lashley continues to hit him with chairs in the leg until Gage Goldberg showed up and was put into the Hurt Lock.
Yep.
15-year-old Gage Goldberg took the full force of the Hurt Lock. I have a lot of respect for that kid. That's like being put in the Master Lock, except more deadly. Now that I mention it, I'd like to see Chris Masters come back and combat the Hurt Lock.
That'd be cool.
But I don't see why it's a big deal. You wanted Lashley to pin Goldberg or make him tap out. Well, that's one thing, but quite a lot of people have done that already. But nobody's ever made him unable to continue. So ha on you. Lashley is Goldberg's biggest defeat. Boom! Not Lesnar at WrestleMania. Lashley at SummerSlam. So, Leo, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the WWE title match.
You know what? Let Will go first because I got a little thing to say about it. But,
yeah, I'll go. I got not that much to say about the whole match.
All right.
Overall, it was a really fun match. It did what it needed to do. Goldberg actually did very well, and he performed his strengths. Of course, there was a scary spot in the match where I think Goldberg went to throw Lashley off the turnbuckle, and Lashley almost broke his freaking neck. And he threw off the turnbuckle, and Lashley landed wrong. That was kind of Lashley's part. I wasn't gonna blame Goldberg, but that was the only scary part of the match. Other than that, it was just pure dominance from the Almighty, and Goldberg held his own. And they did what they needed to do. Gage jumping in and doing his shtick. It was cool, I guess, but WWE also promoted child abuse because that guy's 15. So yeah, that's something. Don't take that seriously, folks, by the way. Dark humor there. Anyways, overall, they did what they needed to do. This sets up a rematch down the line. Yes, it's going to happen, whether you like it or not. And the Almighty is still the WWE champ. That's all that matters. My guy's still WWE champion, and that's all that matters to me.
All
Good
right.
match.
All right, Leo, go ahead.
Good, Leo.
For what it was, it's better than what I expected, and I give props to my Papa Berg. Little known fact: Goldberg is my daddy.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a joke we do all the time. But yeah, Goldberg is my father. Gage is my little brother. He was doing stuff that we have not seen since basically his run in 2003, so pump handle signs, clotheslines, and whatnot. Those are things we haven't seen. Basically, since his comeback, all we've seen are spears and jackhammers. That's it. It's so refreshing to see him do these other moves that he hasn't pumped out in a long time, and and Lashley did his job in looking dominant and making Goldberg look defeated and whatnot. Even making him just not be able to continue because his leg was in too much pain. Like, yes, it's not the ending I would have liked to have seen, but you know what? For what it was, I think it works. But it's leading to a rematch, whether that be Crown Jewel or even next year's Royal Rumble. Wherever it happens, let's see. I'm interested in seeing what happens because I think they both did well together. And Lashley, I'm coming for you because you hurt my little brother.
That's right.
Hey, there's still one Goldberg boy you haven't met, and that's me.
Leo the Phenomenal Goldberg. Okay, that sounded a lot better in my head. Never mind. I want to move forward.
I mean, he has Goldberg's voice. I'll give him that.
All right, well, we're going to move on now, folks, to the main event of SummerSlam. The big one. Roman Reigns and John Cena. The build-up was not that good.
It was interesting.
It was.
However, I will say, we did not bring this up on our previous podcast because this was announced once we already released it. Roman Reigns declared, if I lose, I leave WWE.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, you probably should not have said that. It really took a lot of the pressure off, judging by the result of the match. Roman Reigns beat John Cena to retain the Universal title, and folks, he's only a few days away from closing in on 1 year as champion. And we said if there's anybody that deserved a year-long title reign and beyond, it's Roman Reigns.
Yep.
Because this tribal chief thing has been working wonders.
It has.
I like how Roman dominated a majority of this entire match.
He did, which I expected.
But Reigns did it because he knew he had Cena where he needed him. The whole thing about Roman wanting apologizing to the movie executives was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
And not to mention, that was also indirectly a shot at The Rock because movie executives don't allow him to compete in WWE.
Yep.
I just know. I could just tell. The Rock, he's going to be on his way soon. He's going to be on his way.
Yeah.
This is the type of thing that needs The Rock.
Next year, then WrestleMania Hollywood.
Yep, this is the type of gimmick and storyline that needs The Rock. Eventually.
Yeah, not just because of the Hollywood stuff, but also because of the family stuff.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
The only thing that would make it even more crazy with families is if they actually brought in Vin Diesel.
I get it. Family.
It's all about family, bro.
Oh, for real.
Yeah, that's funny as hell. But
legit.
The match itself, I enjoyed it. There was like several. I'll admit, the moment John Cena hit that super attitude adjustment off the second rope was when I thought it was over.
Yeah, for real.
I actually thought, oh my god, is that it? But then when John Cena mocked Roman Reigns with his ooh-wah and went for a spear, I'm like, oh, he fucked himself.
I'm like, I literally yelled at him. They're like, you're an idiot, John.
Hey, you're doing this again to another Samoan. It didn't work for you the last time.
Yeah, well, when you tried to go for the people's elbow on The Rock at WrestleMania 28, what happened? Boom, you lost. He did the same thing the following year, but he knew Rock was going to try and counter again.
There was a few times I thought Cena was going to win the match. The attitude just for the table, and he brought him back in and hit another A. I'm like, that's it. It's over. 1, 2, no. And I'm like,
and then, of course,
what's he going to do? Ugh.
And then, of course, the Super AA from the second rope. That was when I was like, every time he has a Super AA, that's when he usually gets it.
He kicked out the Super AA the last time they fought. I'm like, oh my god.
He survived 3 attitude adjustments and an STF. And John Cena fell to a single spear. I'm like, this is exactly what happened in No Mercy in 2017. Yeah, John Cena made the same mistakes he made before.
I wanted Cena to win. I think it would have been fun just to see him as the champion for at least a little bit. Plus, I think he kind of deserves it. He's earned it. Since he's on his way out, I guess. I don't know.
But then again, someone like Roman Reigns honestly should not just drop his belt for that reason only to get it back.
Yeah.
Don't end that. Because he's the guy who really deserves to go past a certain somebody that we're about to talk about in a moment. Before we get to that, though, I'm going to ask each of y'all's opinions on the actual title match itself. We won't talk about what happens afterward, but I'm going to get to each of you. Starting with you, Willie, what is your thoughts on the Universal title match?
Really, really fun main event. Like I said last week, this is SummerSlam. This is what the whole thing was built around. Inside Allegiant Stadium, fun atmosphere, really back and forth match. Cena got dominated, obviously, through most of it. There were a few times I thought he was going to win. Super AA, A through the table, A in the ring, kick out, kick out, kick out. Like, God dang, Roman, go down, dude. And it was a very back and forth match. There was a moment where I kind of laughed at because Cena was legit just screaming at the top of his lungs, hit me in the back, hit me in the back. I was laughing so freaking hard. I'm like, John, chill. Like, we know you're talking to him. Like, chill.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you got the screaming in a stadium. Like, God, like, it was just so funny to listen to John scream, like, hit me in the back, hit me in the back. Like, it was so funny.
Yeah.
But overall, fun match. Great stuff. I liked the ending with Roman mocking Cena. He's about to go for the "You Can't See Me," and then, you know. But before we got that guy, the match was really fun. And right winner, Roman Reigns. I don't know. I think I just wanted Cena to win just for the moment. I don't know. It would have been great. It was all right there set in stone. But yeah, Roman's the guy. Roman is what WWE is focused on right now. He is SmackDown right now. And
he is professional wrestling.
I wouldn't go that far. That's just me.
If you want to compare to the domination of everybody else, yes, he is.
That's your opinion. In my opinion, there's not that one person in pro wrestling. I think it's a collective unit, but that's just me. But he is WWE right now.
And he is the head of the table, that's for sure. He's the head of the wrestling table, at least.
Yes. That's a pretty big table to be sitting at. Like, legit.
You know, in my personal opinion, the feud with him and John Cena should have been about the head of the table versus the guy who built the table.
Exactly. Who builds tables better?
Yep.
This should have been a tables match. I'm done.
I wouldn't be surprised if Roman ends up in a tables match, maybe at Extreme Rules against whoever he faces. Possibly Finn Balor.
Hey, imagine this, been going for a coup de grace, Roman through a table, and Roman moves, and he pretty much stomps himself, and we get another Big Show moment.
Well, here's the thing. He would have put himself to the table in that moment. What happened with Cody Rhodes and Big Show is Cody technically drop-kicked him into the table.
I know. I'm just joking about it.
That would have been funny.
Yeah. But I just now remember something else we forgot to mention. What the hell is with that Miz and Morrison segment with the Dripstick 2000?
That was so funny. That was just a pastime. And what was Logan Paul doing in the crowd?
Well, he ended up showing up on Raw the next night, so.
This was actually kind of interesting, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of going a teeny tiny bit of respect for him.
I think I know what's happening.
What?
Oh.
Logan Paul's going to have a match with The Miz.
Don't ever say that again.
At Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia.
Don't say that. They're listening. Don't say that. They're listening to us.
Hey, they had Tyson Fury compete and Cain Velasquez. I wouldn't be surprised if they have Logan.
He's an actual competitor.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have Logan Paul compete, all because he's a guy who took on Floyd Mayweather that one time.
You know what? I slept on Bad Bunny and he did some things. Why not? And actually, I'm kind of growing to respect the guy. Just a teeny bit because he respects wrestling.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you try to push Logan Paul as a face, nobody's going to believe it.
Please no.
Push him as a heel if you're going to do this.
And you need to That's all you need to do.
Yep.
Please.
And don't worry about me. I'm not here. The guy, I'll always have WrestleMania watching him get stunned.
Oh, yeah. That was
true.
So good. That was
That's
awesome.
True.
Anyway,
like I said, Cena and Reigns was really good. I prefer this match over the last one, in my opinion. And, yeah, it's cool.
All right.
Good stuff.
Leo, your thoughts on the Universal title match?
This was pure sports entertainment. I I enjoyed myself. It was a fun match. Sure, there was a little too much pandering from Roman. I think I'll give him this. He's not on like the taunting pantomiming level of Pentagon Jr., but you know what? He's down a bit. I think the match was still a lot of fun. I had no doubt Roman was winning because like, come on, it's like John Cena's not going to stay forever, and basically, you know what? I wouldn't mind it if they do this match again, maybe in the future, but who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I enjoyed it very much for what it was worth. The right person won the match when it came to Roman Reigns because at his domination streak, he added John Cena to the list of his victims in the last year. Let's take a look. Jey Uso, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan. He even beat Drew McIntyre. It wasn't a title match, but he beat Drew McIntyre on pay-per-view. Edge. Then Cesaro, Rey Mysterio, Edge again, and then John Cena. Look at that list, and that's how many people he's crushed in the last year. And the fact that his next major task is the return of Brock Lesnar.
That's right.
Cows.
What's that?
I said hide your cows.
Exactly. Hide your cows, hide the bears, hide the dog, hide the kids, hide the cat, hide the entire freaking forest because the Viking is back.
Yeah. It's like the thing. I like Brock's look, but he kept the beard and he kept the ponytail. I like that.
It's sick.
Forget the wrestler in AEW. Brock Lesnar's the true butcher.
For real.
Yeah, it's like
he's a butcher. He doesn't need no blade right there.
I must say, like, when Brock Lesnar showed up, I think even the commentators, I don't think they knew he was there. I think this was legitimate reactions.
It was.
This never leaked or was hinted of ever happening at SummerSlam.
You gotta give WWE props for this. This was not leaked. This was not rumored. People were like, Lesnar's coming back in next year. Yeah, Lesnar's coming back next year. Nope.
He showed up out of nowhere, randomly, right there. At a time when nobody would expect it, because, Raymond's just beat John Cena. If they were expecting anybody to show up, they were expecting maybe Big E or something to try and cash in because he got his briefcase back. But then Brock Lesnar showed up.
I was thinking Big E's going to cash in because he had a freaking pre-show match with Constipated Corbin, and he won, obviously. And I'm like, okay, Big E's going to cash in and end the show. That's here and in the show because John Cena's not going to win this match. So let's do the cash in. Nope. Brock Lesnar. Big surprise. And he's a face, which is amazing.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, can we all just say Pat McAfee made it awesome?
Dude, for real.
The way he yelled, yes!
Pat is so
funny.
Michael
Cole even did good. He's like, Brock is here!
Oh, my God.
He was about to scream, holy shit.
Yeah, it's like,
shit.
Holy shit!
And then McAfee's like, say it!
Say it! Say it!
Say it!
The beast is coming! Here comes the beast!
But if you want to talk about reactions, no one was more perfect than Paul Heyman.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God! He was so fucking scared.
He seriously looked like, oh my God, no, please.
Paul Heyman's the special counsel for Roman Reigns. Here comes his all-time client.
Exactly.
This is why I'm excited for this. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't want another Roman Reigns-Brock Lesnar match. This has a better potential compared to before because Paul Heyman is fucking torn. He doesn't know what to do.
Plus, this is a different Roman Reigns. A very different Roman Reigns.
It's the tribal chief now.
The man who pretty much is undefeated right now since 2019. Oh,
yes.
my God.
Yes, this man has not been pinned or submitted since TLC 2019.
That's insane.
That is insane.
God dang, Roman. Well, here comes your maker. Actually, I don't think Brock Lesnar's going to freaking do it. Like, what the heck?
Hell, think about this. My favorite call was from Pat McAfee when he said, "The alpha male of our species is here."
I busted out laughing. I'm like, dang, Pat. Oh, my God, I love him.
When he said that, I'm like, I don't see Monty Brown anywhere.
Yeah, it's like
Brown, wow.
the fact when Michael Cole was like, yelling, his voice was breaking as well, saying, "Here comes the beast! Here comes the beast!" This just made the whole thing even more exciting. You can look back on the video; it was trending #1 on YouTube.
It was.
And it takes a lot to have your video trending #1 on YouTube. CM Punk, we'll talk about him next week. He was trending #1 on YouTube that same weekend. And then Brock Lesnar quickly did the same thing.
And
Two major returns. It just goes to show, like, holy shit, what a weekend this was.
It's been crazy. What the heck? Brock Lesnar. God dang.
Brock Lesnar.
It's like the return of Cena at Money in the Bank.
I can't believe I would say, I'll be honest, I can't believe I would say this, but I'd be totally fine if Brock Lesnar beats Roman.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
Kill the tribal chief, right?
Yeah. Good?
Kill the tribal chief, huh?
Now, here's what I'm thinking. Roman Reigns has not been tested yet as the tribal chief. He hasn't really been truly tested. Here comes the Beast. The Beast best the tribal chief. Because, Christian, I still think you're right. Roman could take time off. Give it to Brock Lesnar.
And he could still
Brock
go in.
Lesnar tape that Paul Heyman.
And then he could still have his feud with The Rock without the title involved. So that means Rock could even get the win. Without the title involved. Yeah, without the title involved, Rock could even get the win against Roman.
And Roman will have his first loss. So there you go. And we were all thinking, oh, but Roman's untouchable. You don't need to beat Roman Reigns now. It's a part-timer. Well, guess what? You can build another guy to take down Brock.
Lesnar. It's Brock Lesnar.
And you're not, hear me out, you are not having Brock Lesnar come back and lose.
Well, that happened in 2012.
Yeah, true.
His first match back in WWE in 2012, he lost to John Cena.
That's true. He did lose that match, and then afterwards he became a freaking killing machine. But still, hear me out. I know everyone's gonna like where I'm going with this. Brock Lesnar beats Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar takes the title in the Survivor Series. The Almighty is still your WWE champion. We get Brock Lesnar. We get Bobby Lashley at Survivor Series. And here's another thing. Big E still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. Big E cashes in after both guys are done killing each other. Maybe during the match, cashes in, wins one of the championships. There you go. Everyone gets what they want.
Yeah.
Everyone gets what they want. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, a cash in. There you go. I just put Survivor Series right there for you. So if you do that at Survivor Series WWE, you guys look back at this video right here. I booked it. I called it. There you go.
Oh my God, this is awesome. Leo, I will ask you, what was your thoughts and reactions when Brock Lesnar showed up?
Oh, I ran to my barn and I hid the cows in my cellar. And I did the same thing that I did with when Cena came back at Money in the Bank. I had my headphones off and I'm like waiting, like who's gonna come out? Boom! And I had to take my headphones off because I knew these guys were gonna go nuts. And I'm like,
yep.
And you know what? Yeah, Roman versus Brock at Crown Jewel. You know, go ahead. I don't mind it.
Book it.
Yeah, I'm like, honestly, this actually works because, this does work because Brock Lesnar is a believable person to beat Roman Reigns. And here's the thing, Lesnar's bigger than Roman now.
He is.
The last time they faced off in 2018, Roman had a little bit of a size advantage on him. Not anymore.
Roman backed out of the ring this year like a coward. Of course, he's a heel, but still.
Yeah, now look at him.
Exactly.
Yeah, now he looks like he's been bench pressing some bulls.
You know what I could totally see them doing? We do the match at, maybe it's not Saudi Arabia. You can do it at Extreme Rules. We have it there. Paul Heyman turns on Roman Reigns. Because let's face it, Roman Reigns really doesn't need Paul Heyman.
have Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns, have him go back with Lesnar. There you go.
Oh my God. Imagine this. Imagine Finn
What?
Balor wanting to get that Universal title. Brock gets it back. Oh, come on!
I know exactly where you're going with that. Oh God, please no.
Yeah, Finn will be like, oh, come on! I couldn't
That's
beat
right,
it the
'cause Finn
last
Balor wants his
time.
title back. Or that title back. It's not his anymore. So
And what they could do,
What?
if they do give the title to Lesnar, let him hold it till WrestleMania. Draft Drew to SmackDown, build him back up,
that's what I was thinking about yesterday.
Lesnar.
Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday.
and finally
And,
they'll
yeah.
get Drew and Brock in front of a crowd.
And instead
Exactly.
of a bunch of Claymore suplexes and F5s, they'll put on an actual match.
Exactly.
Because Brock just
You run
wanted to
it
get
back
the Brock just
in
wanted to
front
get
of
the
the
hell
crowd.
out of there at the time.
Yeah, you just run it back at WrestleMania in the crowd, in that stadium with the crowd. You can still do Roman Reigns and The Rock. You can still do that main events, and you do that. And then you do for WrestleMania next year, I still throw out Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe we could do Keith Lee against, I don't know, somebody, but that's a good way to book WrestleMania right there. You're giving you WrestleMania early, folks.
Hell, how about Keith Lee, Brock Lesnar? I'd like to see that match.
Heck, dude, yes. Dude, yes.
What we saw at last year's Rumble.
Yeah.
We did.
I will rob a bank and give you all the money.
No,
Yeah.
don't do that. But okay. Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
Exactly.
I'm gonna be at WrestleMania in Dallas, Texas. And my plan is also to go to WrestleMania in Los Angeles because I want to go to Hollywood.
Hollywood.
I'd like to see these big time matches. It's gonna be great.
True.
And hell, I still can't believe to this very day, I'm going back on tour attending wrestling events next week. Next week,
Yep.
I'm going to
Boom.
Chicago, boys. I am going back. Here's the last time I was at a major wrestling event was in Chicago. How fitting that my first one back is in Chicago.
That's crazy.
Pick up where we left off.
Yep.
Hell to the
2021
motherfucking
is
yeah.
the year we all get back to what we wanted to do. I mean, you're gonna go to Rampage and All Out. I went to WrestleMania, SmackDown, and a house show. Well, I don't know about you. Ryan
I've just
Connor.
been at home.
Ryan Connor went to Money in the Bank, Raw, and AEW Dynamite. Like, hey, we're going back to shows we love to watch.
The moment people like John Cena, CM Punk, Becky Lynch, and Brock Lesnar showed up, I'm like, we are back to normal now in wrestling. We are fucking back. We're back.
It's finally like it's crazy that WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, MLW, all the wrestling companies are coming back together. It's crazy.
Yep.
The fans are back. It's insane right now. And in return of Brock Lesnar, I want to give WWE some credit too, because like I said, nobody. There was no rumors, no leaks, nothing. And I know what people are going to say before we head off. I know what people are going to say in the comments. Oh, but it was WWE's plan. It was WWE's plan all along to combat that against the Pepsi Man. They did that because of Punk.
Bullshit.
In my opinion, no, they
That
didn't.
took place just a little over 24 hours after CM Punk showed up. There is no way they could have brought him over that quickly.
And WWE does not care about what the Pepsi Man does right now.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're happy for his success. Who cares? Moving on. That was not. I know people were saying. I know people were saying that on Twitter and all that stuff on social media. Oh, that's a shot. That's a thing. That's them going at that. You're pulling out the part timers and all that. You're pulling out a Becky Lynch. You're using a Brock Lesnar to combat AEW. Like no, that's not what they're doing in our opinion.
No.
Let's be honest. AEW, Tony Khan, all of them, they have WWE and Vince McMahon are living in their heads rent free in a 10-story mansion with 20 levels of basement under.
Although honestly, my personal opinion, I think way behind the scenes, way behind all the social media, they're actually in cahoots.
Dude, same here. I legit think that. I still think that.
Yeah, there's no
It's
evidence there's no evidence that shows either. All we can do is assume. Nothing is a
Yeah, we just speculate. I think it's really even confirmed, but the stuff is right there in front of you. But that's neither here nor there. Overall, SummerSlam this year, oh my God, like, in my opinion, it was better than WrestleMania.
It was.
That was the point. And it delivered.
I mean, not in my opinion, because I'm a bias. I was there.
You were there. Yeah, it's understandable.
That's true. But only that, I think there were more exciting matches at WrestleMania than here. Here, you only had like 2, maybe 3. WrestleMania had like 4 or 5.
I think SummerSlam was more about the moments in general than the big matches and all. You had your Edge and Rollins. You had, of course, the opening match. You had Becky Lynch returning and Brock Lesnar. You had Cena and Reigns. Like, in my opinion, everything delivered. Like, in TakeOver, same thing. TakeOver, was it the best TakeOver? No, I wouldn't say it's the best TakeOver of all time, but it was good for what it was. Of course, match tonight goes to Walter and Ilya Dragunov, and I enjoyed the main event. I enjoyed all of it.
What this just goes to show is this was a fantastic weekend for professional wrestling fans of every kind. Everybody from every side was satisfied, sometimes not satisfied. And you know what? That's okay, because honestly, this was one of the most wildest weekends of wrestling we've had in a long time. And it honestly made the last year and a half of this COVID-19 pandemic really worth the wait.
Dude, I think, in my opinion, this was better than WrestleMania weekend. Like, because there was so much going. Not saying WrestleMania weekend was horrible, by far, but this was humongous. Everyone came out. Yeah, everyone came out swinging.
And like we said earlier in the podcast, I honestly wish that sometimes we could go back and relive that WrestleMania week because it was so good. But that doesn't mean that. Here's the thing: I'd like to relive this entire weekend.
Dude, like, there was so much going on from every side. AEW, WWE, Impact Wrestling, for God's sakes. Like it was crazy. So much wrestling. Even the aftermaths of the shows were crazy. It's just insane. Like, wrestling is back. Finally. Took them long enough, but they're back.
Time to see where this goes along. And my God, folks, Christian Miracle next week is going to be at AEW for the first time ever.
Yep.
And of course, that means, folks, we will be talking about AEW next week on the podcast. But for now, folks, this concludes our review of SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver, a podcast that pretty much went the last 3.5 hours.
For real.
We had a lot to talk about because this was one of the most wildest weekends, and we still have not talked about the big return that happened in AEW, which we'll discuss next week on AEW All Out predictions, because for the first time in a long time, Losers Lounge is finally going back to talking AEW again.
No, we're not going easy on them, folks.
If
just because we're
here's the thing: if it needs to, we'll go at them again. I highly doubt that it'll be as disastrous as last year's All Out, which we went psychotic over the Matt Hardy Sammy Guevara situation.
Yeah.
But anyway, Leo, hope you enjoyed this really long podcast.
To me, it's not about just being a part of the podcast. To me, it's just hanging out with friends and talking about our experiences watching wrestling, because this is what we love. We love ever since we were little. You know, if we can share our love and passion, that's what matters.
Exactly.
Boy, this is why everything's good, and this is why Leo is being inducted into the 2021 Optimistic Hall of Fame. I guarantee we are getting excited to hear his speech for when that happens. As for Hugh Balor, I hope, as always, you are excited every time we come on this podcast.
Of course, like, ever since we've done this thing for the past few years, it's been an amazing journey, and it never fails to amaze me how great we are. First of all, it's crazy. We're almost to 100 episodes. We want to thank you guys for listening to us. It's been a hell of a ride, and we ain't going anywhere. And, CM Punk retired the voice of the voiceless, right? CM Punk retired that on Dynamite. Well, guess what? We're the new voice of the voiceless. We're the voices of the people who can't stand up for themselves. We're the voices of the people who think they don't have an opinion. Well, you don't think you have an opinion? You do. We are the new voice of the voiceless. Not only the Losers Lounge, lots of my friends too, and you who are listening, you have a voice. Use your voice to speak out. That's what we do. That's what our podcast is for. Our podcast is for everybody.
Podcast for everybody. That's always been the very case, whether it's predicting an event, reviewing an event, talking about a controversial thing, or, being quick about a match. Like a big example being when we predicted Super Showdown 2020, we talked about the Brock Lesnar Ricochet match, and it lasted only 8 seconds.
Yep.
That's literally how long our prediction on that match took place, because we all just said Brock Lesnar and moved on because there was nothing to talk about.
Yep.
I'm glad that everything we had about what went down on the weekend, we had something big to talk about. Even Alexa Bliss and Eva Marie of all matches.
Yep.
When you have a lot to talk about with these things, that's what's the best part about it. Sit down and talk with friends. Talking about these things helps bring people closer together. And we've been doing this for the better part of 3.5. We've been doing this for 3.5 years now. All right. Well, that concludes this podcast. We will be seeing you all next week on AEW All Out predictions, and I cannot wait to talk about that. Potentially, folks, I can't confirm this, but potentially featuring the return of our fellow loser, Connor Riley, because he is a major AEW fan, and he definitely wants to talk this show. And I want to talk this show because I'm going to the damn place.
You know it.
I will be close to the ring on the rafters.
You will be.
So I hope
I'll be looking out for
that. Yeah, be sure of that. So, Heel Balor, you know exactly what to do next.
Oh, of course I do. We're the losers, and this is our lounge, man. Hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see y'all next week. Too sweet. Peace.